An exciting Rams 49ers game, not well coached, but it's very exciting nonetheless. We're going to talk about that as well as the week 5 NFL picks on the walterfootball.com After Dark show. But before we get into everything, please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit the link in the description for the merch store. As always, something for the merch store. It is once again our 100% USDA man shirt. Look, you have to wear the same shirt twice, especially if your daughter tries to eat it because she sees hot dogs on the shirt. But you can get this shirt as well as everything else at the merch store. It is here. We have a 20% off sale. Change the colors of the shirts, get hoodies, hoodie versions of this, get long sleeve t-shirt if you're crazy enough to like those, women's tank tops, infant onesies even. We have our apron, we have our mugs, and hats. So we have everything here at the merch store, 20% off sale. Amazon, you can go to Amazon, buy my books. The most recent one is Jerks of the College Years, where I made fun of people in college. And then the first book is Safety and a Field Goal, which is like top 5 topics around the NFL, mostly serious, but some fun stuff too. And then please consider super chats, super stickers. That's the best way to support the show. Say that all the time, but it's true. YouTube ads pay us nothing. It's really sad, especially on a day like this where it's the beginning of a fiscal quarter, where ad rates are so low. So if you guys want to help us out, that would be the best way. Just really appreciate all you guys' help in the past. I can't say that enough. All right, we're joined by Evan Daniel. Evan, how was your? Well, I can see how your night was. How was your week 4? But I imagine as a Niner fan, you're excited, albeit probably frustrated by the coaching.
Yeah, I don't know. We're starting a little late because I told you I needed to catch my breath. So
Yeah.
there's a couple of buys this week, so I feel like we have an extra 4 minutes to go through that game. That was one of the worst coached games I've seen in a long time, and I've watched a lot of Shanahan games. I've watched a lot of poorly coached games. That was a wild, wild finish. But we have to talk about a couple of plays, a couple of drives, because we were kind of arguing about this. And I said, let's just go live and discuss it, because the first thing that I said and I was going crazy about, and I've gone crazy about this for years with Shanahan, is his love for kicking field goals, especially inside the 10, inside the 5, his propensity to punt at midfield on 4th and short. Niners are up by 10 with 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. It's 1st and goal at the 3. So, okay. They go, they can't run the ball. And they're the second to worst team in the league running the football this year. I think going into the game, they were ranked number 31. Only Cincinnati is worse running the ball. And all night, they couldn't run the football. For the game, they ran 33 carries, 74 yards. That's 2.2 yards per carry. That's abysmal. But it's 1st and goal at the 3. And they can't run the ball, so they run the ball for nothing. They run the ball down to the 1. On 2nd down, they give the ball to Juszczyk, inside handoff to the fullback for a loss of 1. So I get it. On 3rd and goal, they're throwing. I can live with it. It doesn't work, and Mac Jones gets nailed, and he's hurt. So you were saying, listen, it's Adrian Martinez. You can't go 4th and goal at the 2-yard line with Adrian Martinez because you can't trust him to take the snap or even hand the ball off. And I said, I don't care. First of all, if he's on the roster, you have to be able to take a snap and hand the ball off. And even if you just go wildcat with McCaffrey or somebody else, you cannot kick a field goal to turn a 2-score game into a 2-score game. So, of course, Shanahan kicks a field goal, and they go up by 13. And then you kick off. I would rather the ball be at the 2-yard line than the 35. In this case, it was the 31. 6 plays, 79 yards, touchdown, and now it's a 6-point game, and it's a brand new game. You cannot kick field goals, especially in the second half, even in the first drive of the game, inside the 5. It's a fireable offense. This coach does it time and time again. I said he would have done it if it was Tom Brady. He did this in the Super Bowl. Granted, it was from the 8. He elected to kick a field goal and give the ball to Mahomes in 4-down territory and lost the Super Bowl. This guy does this every single game that he has an opportunity. You cannot kick field goals in that situation. You just can't. And then on the other side, a little bit later on, after the Rams tie the game and then miss the extra point, so the Niners go 3 and out. Okay, 4th and 8, they punt. The Rams now have a 4th and 1. Yeah, I understand. It's on their own 39-yard line. It's their own 39-yard line. And I actually mentioned this last week. So I want to go back to last week's handicap with the Rams. And one of the things that I said, because we were both on the Colts in the game, and one of the things that I said before we talked about the Rams-Colts game was the Rams are really bad in short yardage situations. The prior week, in week 3, they were 3 for 10 on third down. They were 0 for 1 on fourth down. They were 1 for 4 in the red zone. They actually punted 4th and 2 at midfield. And I know they were milking a lead against the Eagles, but they're really bad in short yardage third down situation. So what happens here? It's 3rd and 1, and Stafford incomplete. 4th and 1, McVay punts. It's like, okay, I'm a Niner fan. There's 8 minutes to go in the game. What do you think the Niner fans want you to do? We want you to punt. So if we don't want you to punt, you probably should go 4th and 1. If you can't get it, you don't get it. But go for 4th and 1. You got to be able to get a yard. Stafford sneaks something. Niners, of course, field goal. And then late in the game, in the overtime, once again, 3rd and 1, or that was 3rd and 6. They picked up 5 yards. 4th and 1, stuffed. So the Rams continue to be poor on short yardage, 3rd and 4th down. The Niners continue to kick field goals. And this was a huge win for the Niners, huge win. Road divisional game with Mac Jones at quarterback, and Mac Jones played well tonight. I mean, he tried to throw a pick in overtime with the game tied right before they kicked the field goal. That was a ball that was dropped by the Rams. I forget who it was. But horribly coached game. It will continue to happen. The Rams need to get over this short yardage problem. The Niners refuse to run the ball. I get it, 2.2 yards per carry. Bad, you can't run, but you have to keep running the ball. You have to try. It's 2nd and 3 at the 14-yard line in overtime, and they're dropping back. Mac Jones is taking 7-step drops, and he takes a sack for a loss of 9. Who's calling these plays? 2 weeks ago with Mac Jones, Shanahan's letting Mac Jones take 7-step drops into his own end zone, where, of course, they had a holding penalty against Arizona. So the Niners are finding ways to win. They're getting very, very lucky. They've made some big plays defensively to get stops to win games. Against Seattle, they caused the fumble. Against the Saints, Nick Bosa caused the fumble. Tonight, my man Fred with a huge stop, 4th and 1. We're getting lucky, but hey, 4 and 1, we'll take it. Just going forwards, watch out for these Rams short yardage situations. And we don't have to watch out for Kyle. We know what Kyle's going to do. This bum is kicking field goals inside the 5 every single game. They're going to continue to be overrated. The schedule's a joke. They're going to finish 12 and 4 with Mac Jones. Purdy, it doesn't matter. They're playing Carolina. They're playing Tennessee. They have the jokes at Cleveland. The joke schedule coming up. They'll be a 2 seed maybe, and they're very overrated. And we'll bet against them in the playoffs. I'll bet against them, but hopefully I'll lose the bets and win the game. Tonight was great. Tonight they're big dogs. We're playing with house money. What a game! Love it.
That was
49 attempts, Mac Jones. 49 attempts. That's outrageous. Was it 49 attempts? 49 attempts. Wow.
Yeah, this was 33 of 49, 342, 2 touchdowns. Mac Jones. Yeah, that's true. Mac, it's crazy. Mac Jones, and when he didn't take a safety when they were pinned, I'm like, of course he doesn't take the safety this week. Like when we have him in the Circa Millions, of course he takes safety.
Right.
We disagreed on the look, I'm also critical of Shanahan for taking those field goals all the time. I'm with you there, but I just think that like with your quarterback going down and the guy coming in, you know, he's never taken a snap before in the NFL, and there could be jitters. And it's not like the worst case scenario is like, okay, the Rams are pinned down there. Like the worst case scenario to me is he botches the snap, and then the Rams scoop it up and then return for a touchdown. Like I could like legitimately see that happening. But like Wildcat. then you counter like Wildcat. I'm like, yeah, that makes more sense, I guess. But at the same time, given that the quarterback got hurt, I kind of wonder if, you know, some of the players are like what's happening here, and they're distracted and kind of worried about their teammate. So I don't know. In that scenario, I don't think it's like the worst thing to do, but normally I think it's a terrible decision to kick field goals. But
the only way I would do that is if the game were tied and it's to take a lead.
Right, that makes sense. Yeah, or
I
if
still don't want to do it because there's too much time left.
Or if you're up 6 and you go up 9, which
right. If you're up, if you're turning a 1 score into a 2-score game, absolutely. If you're up 3 late and you kick a field goal and go up 6, you're brain dead because now you're putting them in 4-down touchdown mode, right? Yep. And you're up by 10, you're going up by 13. You're saying, well, if they give up 2 scores, you're only down by a field goal. No, you go for it. Period. And you got to go for it somehow.
Yeah, especially if the opposing quarterback Stafford, like for him scoring is easy. It's not like the opposite quarterback is I don't know who's the worst quarterback in the NFL right now.
Tua.
Yeah, if it's Tua or Russell Wilson or something, then I could see it like going 3-6, but or Jake Browning or something like that. But yeah, look, it was and that Rams punt I thought that was terrible as well. I was kind of surprised that they punted. I was like, really, they're punting? And yeah, of course, Kyron Williams fumbles at the goal line. That was like another short yardage thing. I mean, it's not really short yardage because
no, that was an opportunistic defensive play.
Yeah,
that's not really a short yardage, but they
Yeah.
did not get the third. They had 3rd and 6. They ended up with 4th and 1 and punted.
Yeah.
And 3rd and 6 in the overtime, 4th and 1 couldn't get it. And then, of course, the third and 1 before they punted with 7-8 minutes to go, it was a 3rd and 1 and they passed.
Yeah.
And they're not, for some reason, they're really not good in those short yardage. I mean, if I'm the Rams, I'd rather it be 3rd and 6 than 3rd and 2.
Yeah.
3rd and 6, I feel like the Niners at one point earlier in the game, they went man. And I saw the guy, I saw the linebacker moving with his man, whoever it was. And like, oh, shoot, they're in man right now. There was no way they were going to stop. And between Devontae and Puka, somebody was going to get open. And then even in zone coverage, which they were in late in the game, just those guys are wide open. There's nothing you can do about it. You almost have to get pressure immediately or hope that he throws a quick slant that's just into coverage. And that's what happened. And then they punted. Just, thank you. I'll take the ball back. 39, you got to go for it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You got to get a yard. You got to get a yard. Even if you're on your own 20, you got to get a yard. And I can't watch these coaches who just refuse to do that. 4th down, we have to punt just in case we don't get it. So what? You don't get it. Okay, you don't get it. Go for a yard. You got to end the game. You got to have the game on your terms. But I want to point out one other thing because this is very similar to the Sunday night game that you and I both had in the contest last week, Green Bay, Dallas. So obviously this was not a contest pick. We're not talking about this game. Even if the line were 3 and we had an opportunity to take 3, I think the contest line was 7.5 anyway.
Yeah.
But just for argument's sake, if this line in the contest were 2.5, you would have said to me, hey, Thursday night, it's 2.5. The line's now 7. Like, we really need to consider it.
Right.
So first of all, that's why we don't consider Thursdays regardless. But we both got this game wrong. We both thought that this game was going to be 10, 14-point blowout. Maybe not a blowout, but I didn't think the Niners had a shot tonight. And when you have this type of game, once the game started, when Niners up by 7 and driving, I'm playing Niner money line, and I'm playing Rams 7 plus 7.5 when the Niners score. At halftime, Niners are up by 10. I'm playing Rams -7, so I have Rams +3. And on the live line, the line is 2.5. So I have Niners -2.5, Rams +3, which push win, right? I'm playing money lines back and forth. And for fun, I'm playing guess overtime where FanDuel gave a boost. So if you had like a 30% boost, I got overtime at like 4-1. So I'm playing all these various bets throughout the game live that are either winning or pushing. I actually took a Stafford over 330.5 yards when he had, I think, 285, figuring if they're behind, he's throwing. I actually needed the overtime to win that. But there's a lot of ways to win these bets live, and we talk about this every single week. Even if we get the game wrong, great. I'm wrong. I wasn't betting this game to begin with. But while the game's going on, so many ways to make money and to attack the live spreads. If you're not a fan of the team and you're sitting and live betting for fun, like you're sitting at a craps table or a blackjack table, just having fun playing the NFL markets, there's a lot of things to do to win these games. For me as a Niner fan, this game is great because I'm winning money. I didn't want the game to go to overtime. I mean, I would have loved for the Niners to win by 3 without the overtime. So it was just the best case scenario all the way around. Niners won the game. They won by 3, so I pushed my +3, got my Niner 2.5, got the overtime, and got a nice another example of Shanahan being a moron, where I continue to be right about this coach. So there you go. Now we can move on to week 5.
I thought about the Stafford passing over when I was putting my son to bed because I saw that they went down. The Niners went up 14-0, and like Stafford's gonna be throwing a lot here.
Yeah.
And then of course, like I'm exhausted from putting my son to bed, and then come downstairs, go to the bathroom. By the time I'm done, it just completely just leaves my mind and forget about it. And then, like you just mentioned, Stafford, his passing yards, like, oh yeah, I like that bet. I didn't take it though. It feels like that happens all the time. My son's only 3, so his bedtime is like 8 o'clock, and so it feels like that interferes with my live betting all the time. But that's okay. Jay Berman, $5 super chat. Love the show. Thank you so much, Jay Berman. Really appreciate it. That's going to clear our YouTube ad revenue for tonight. So thank you so much. Just really appreciate it. Okay. Let's, as you said, let's get to week 5. We have once again a dreadful 6:30 a.m. Pacific time London game. Last week was Ireland game. I don't really know the difference between the two. Either way, can't really travel there. So it is Vikings versus the Browns. Vikings are -3.5. And as I said last night to Andy, this is the best home field advantage in all of sports. Being overseas, having the body clock set in. We've seen it happen 2 times with the Jaguars. The first time they clobbered the Bills. Now the Bills got it close toward the end, but they had a big lead, and they were like 5.5 point underdogs in that game. Second time last year, they played the Patriots, and that was, I believe, a 32-16 win over the Patriots, whereas you can kind of say the Jaguars and the Patriots are pretty even. So, this is a big advantage for the Vikings. And then a disadvantage, I think, for the Browns, who I think are the inferior teams in this matchup. They have a great defense and everything, but they can't block at all, and I don't trust the quarterbacking. Speaking of the quarterbacking, they're making a quarterback change to a rookie on a short week of prep, given that they have to travel overseas, which just seems like a bad idea, especially against Brian Flores, who will be able to confuse Dylan Gabriel. And you have the Vikings coming off a loss. I think this is a really good spot for them. So I love Minnesota. I usually want to stay away from these international games, but given that the Vikings are already there, I just think that gives them a huge advantage. What do you think about this game?
Well, there's 2 reasons why you need to stay off this game. One is because it's international. Whether somebody's there or not already, I agree, I get it. But it's an international game where weird things just happen. Number 2, I think I saw you wrote down a score of 27-13. So funny, I also wrote down that the Browns would have 13, but I gave Minnesota 16 because I'm not betting on Carson Wentz behind an offensive line that's missing. Are they still missing Freeze? Are they still missing? They're missing the right tackle. They're missing the center. If they're not missing them, if these guys are back healthy, do we know that they're healthy? So I have no interest in betting on Carson Wentz laying more than a field goal. I don't have any interest in betting on Dylan Gabriel against Brian Flores' defense, and I have no interest in laying points. So I don't like either side of this game. I like the under. I'm not going to bet the under, but if I had to bet the game, I would bet the under. The over-under in this game is 36, and I really don't think either team is cracking 20. So unless you tell me there's a defensive score or a fumble or a pick inside somebody's red zone that leads to an easy score, for me, it's not a game that I want to wake up and bet on at 9:30 in the morning for an international game. I hear you on the London on Vikings already being overseas. How far is Dublin to London? I don't even know that. So
it's in the same vicinity, right? It's not like going from London to
obviously
Moscow, like it is pretty close. So I would assume it's like
it's actually short. I just Googled it. It's an hour and a half. So it's actually a short flight. Okay. But still, you're still overseas. It's still a change in scenery. And it's still Carson Wentz behind a line that, again, what does the injury report tell us about the Vikings offensive line? Do we know if is Michael Juergens going to be the center this week? Is Justin Skule going to be the right tackle? Because if those guys are playing, I have no interest in betting it.
Well, none of the guys who got injured have practiced yet this week, and Andrew Van Ginkel has not practiced either. So not a good look for the Vikings offensive line, but I think the Browns offensive line has similar issues.
Sure.
They can't block on the edge right now. Their left tackle's out. The right tackle's injured, Jack Conklin. They just traded for Cam Robinson. I don't know, if he's going to be able to play right away. That would be interesting to see. But I don't know. I just feel like I trust Kevin O'Connell to have a game plan prepared. When it happens live and you lose 2 guys in game, it's so difficult to come back from. But I think when you have a whole week to prepare, and obviously you're not traveling really, you have the luxury of making a game plan to kind of go around that. And now if if they were playing, if they were huge favorites in this game, then maybe you could say, okay, maybe they don't cover because they can't block as well. But really, I mean, they don't have to win by that many points against the Browns team that their offense is going to be very shaky in this game. I just think that going to a quarterback change against Brian Flores in a short week is just going to be disastrous for them. And I do think that a defensive score is definitely live. Minnesota's defense is really good. They're ranked number 1 in EPA. So I feel like they should be able to maybe put points on the board. I don't think it's crazy to think that the Vikings defense outscores the Browns offense in this game.
It's possible. Wentz took 6 sacks last week. So that's a big concern for me. And then last week, they only pressured Rodgers 7 times. Now, obviously, Rodgers gets the ball out lightning quick. He's great at diagnosing what's going to happen. He's going to get the ball out. I think Stefanski's going to have Gabriel doing the same thing. The ball will be out. Now, he may not get very far. I certainly don't think – I, like you, have the Browns at 10 to 13 points. I'm not laying 3.5 with Carson Wentz behind that offensive line.
Yeah. Well, we did see Carson Wentz catch fire in the second half. I think maybe the halftime adjustments helped. When you have a very talented coach like Kevin O'Connell being able to coach up, his teammates or his team, I think that it's definitely possible that they maybe figure things out in the second half, and that'll carry over into this week with a week to prepare. So
for my Circus Survivor, we still have 4 out of our 5 in there. We originally were thinking about Minnesota as a potential pick this week before we knew about J.J. McCarthy not being very good. And then over the last 2 weeks, as we're watching McCarthy, we're like, I don't think we're going to take Minnesota in that week. And now there's no way I'm taking Minnesota in my survival. Not even a look. Obviously, there's other games to consider, but it's not even on the maybe. It's not even on the outside looking in potential. There's just no way I'm playing Minnesota on Survivor. Mm-hmm. So from a betting perspective, laying 3.5, no thanks.
I was actually going to ask you if you took the Rams tonight, which I guess you did not, based on what you said. So I have 2 entries in. I bought back into DraftKings, so they have 50,000 first. I took this week. Well, we'll get to it, I guess. But
Rams week 9.
Week 9. Who do they play?
Yep. Rams week 9 is New Orleans off a bye.
Well, there we go. That'll be an easy one. Okay, let's get to the
$18.7 million Survivor. Nothing's easy.
That's true. All right. We get to the 1:00 games. And by the way, I'm not. I did boycott that first game. I did not wake up. I woke up and I saw some text from you and other people. I'm like, I texted you. I'm like, yeah, I just woke up. I haven't watched this game.
You texted me. Did are they missing their offensive line? I said, yeah. Wentz has no time to throw the ball.
Yeah. I was passed out. I'm not waking up 6:30 a.m. Pacific time. No way. All right. So anyway, we get to the Sunday games. Dolphins at the Panthers. The Dolphins are 1.5 or 1 point favorites on the road. I know someone who really likes the Dolphins this week.
Is his name Andy Isco?
No, it's not. It's not. I'm not going to spoil who it is. Hint, tomorrow night. But I can't take the Dolphins. And I argued this with Tom. I was like, he really wants the Dolphins on our card. I'm like, this is a horrible team that is a road favorite coming off a win on a short week. I don't want to touch this at all. But then again, I don't want to touch the Panthers either. The Panthers stink. This is just complete stay away from me. I don't know what to make of this game. If I had to play, if I'm an office pool, I have to play a side. I think I would just actually take Carolina. Given them all that I said about the Dolphins, I don't trust Tua at all. There's no Tyreek Hill anymore, and this Dolphins team is just dreadful. I know Carolina is as well, but at least we're getting the points. And I'm really ashamed of myself that I didn't bring this up with Andy last night. Andy had a quote on our stream last year when he said, "When garbage plays garbage, take the points." Well, that's what we're going to do here. Although it's like 1.5, not many points, but still. So do you like anything here?
No. And the good news is you don't have to bet every game.
Yes.
So you're not even getting points here. Now, I'm with you. If I had to make a pick, I would take Carolina at home, really because of the spot. Carolina off of a blowout loss. Miami now celebrating a win. I'm not playing Miami off of a win. Tyreek Hill is out for the season. He's going to throw the ball. Darren Waller probably gets hurt in the first quarter. Right now, all of a sudden he's back, and now he's Darren Waller from 8 years ago. I'm not interested in either team. I don't want to bet on Tua on the road, and I don't want to bet on Bryce Young. So I don't have to tease the game. I don't have to bet the game. I'm going to watch the game because I just watch every game.
Yeah.
But there's no chance I'm putting money on this game. So we can save some time.
Yeah, me neither. I wouldn't even tease this up to 7.5.
By the way, the Dolphins gave up 7 yards a carry to the Jets, who have no threat of a passing game whatsoever.
Horrible. In that game, there were 5 fumbles. The Dolphins recovered all of them.
Yeah, if the Jets didn't fumble going in, and if the Jets didn't fumble a kickoff to start the half, that game is probably close. Now, the Jets find Jets ways to lose. That's just what the Jets do.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not betting on a team that's a horrendous bottom 5 football team off of a win against, let's be fair, a team that lost by 30 is probably going to wake up a little bit. Now, that team was celebrating the week before's win, right?
Right.
So, we won by 30 in 1 week, and then just got roasted. There was actually a funny stat. If you were watching the Patriots Panthers game, and most people should not have been watching the Patriots Panthers game, but I was, because I had the Patriots in Survivor. And the Patriots were, I think it was 6-0. Was it 6-0 to start the game? And
yeah,
there was
the Panthers scored first. Yeah.
The stat that came up and said the Panthers are now up 43-0 in the last 6 quarters. I'm like, wow, Panthers 43-0. And after that comment was made, they were down like 42-6.
Yeah.
For the rest of the game.
They're still outscoring 43-42. So I think that's the win.
Yeah. Save yourself the money and the headache and your eye trouble. Don't watch Tua versus Bryce.
No, I don't. Only prop bets here. That's it. Anyway, I don't even.
That's a game to watch for comedy though, because there might be some over under picks in the game. If you see like a nice 2.5 or 3.5, might be a good bet to take the over, and then you could just laugh as you watch that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's the way to go. But speaking of the Jets, we have them here hosting the Cowboys. The Cowboys are -2.5 on the road. So you said that the Jets find ways to lose. I hope that's not the case this week, because I like them a little bit here. I wish we were getting +3, but the fact that they haven't given us a +3 all week, I think that says that, that the Jets are the right side, because, if they moved it to 3, I think the Sharps would hammer the 3. And I think that's what the sports books are trying to tell us here. But the Cowboys are coming off such an emotional game. It was the Micah Parsons revenge game. They threw the kitchen sink at the Packers. They were so good offensively. They had a couple good defensive plays. Now the rest of the defense performances sucked, but still, like they really went all out against the Packers. Like, that was their Super Bowl. And now they're coming off that game, and they're road favorites here at the Jets. And I think the only negative thing I could say about the Jets as far as the spot is concerned is that they're on a short week. But I think they're desperate at 0-4. And this is a team that, as we said, they move the ball very well. And the Dolphins, they just shot themselves in the foot repeatedly with fumbles. So if they take care of the ball, like we know they're going to move the ball in Dallas. Dallas's defense can't stop anyone. Russell Wilson threw for 450. So the Jets are going to score. The problem with the Jets has been their defense. But if they get Jermaine Johnson back from injury, maybe they can rush the passer a little bit. I don't trust Dallas's interior line against Quinnen Williams. And so I think that Dallas takes a step backward this week, and they lose to the Jets. So I like the Jets, not a lot, but a little bit. What do you think about this game?
So you kind of said it with the Dallas being off a very emotional game. That was a crazy game. Now, Dak, to his credit, was really, really good. He was pressured 15 times in the game. He went 12 for 14 on those pressures. That's unbelievable. That's really, really spectacular. Against Green Bay's defense, who's pretty good. Obviously, they weren't very good last week, but Dak played great. Now, the Jets only had 9 pressures the entire game versus Tua. We obviously know what Dallas's defense is. Their defense was horrendous last week. They're number 30. They're 31st in the league overall. They're number 32 versus the pass, but the Jets can't pass. They're really throwing the ball at Garrett Wilson. Outside of Garrett Wilson, there's nobody to throw the ball to. They moved the ball well last week, as we just pointed out, with the exception of a couple of fumbles. They would have scored a lot more. I made the game pick 'em, so I was a little surprised to see Cowboys favored by almost a field goal. In my head, I feel like I like the Jets as well, because they don't actually have to win. They can lose one of those weird 24-23, 26-24 type of games.
Right.
I actually think the Jets are going to win because of the spot, because like you said, that emotional high playing that game on Sunday night, and now you're coming down and traveling, and you're going to go play the Jets, the measly Jets. Yeah, we'll get a win, but meanwhile, it's Dallas. Like, who are we to say we're going to get a win? And the Jets, the problem with the Jets, though, and the problem with picking the Jets is, yeah, they need to win, but they're a bad team. They're 0-4. What's their mindset like, right?
Yeah.
So I would not bet this game. I would pick the Jets. I feel like getting 2.5 points might come into play. So I would pick the Jets before I took like Carolina. But I wouldn't really bank on this game from a contest perspective. And again, just a lot of these 1:00 games this week. It's really a bad 1:00 card.
So I put this down as a maybe for us, just because there aren't that many games. We only get to choose from 13. So like we already don't like 2. So I thought maybe if we don't like anything else, like maybe we looked at the Jets as our 5th team. But
yeah, I mean we're both on the Jets. I don't mind getting the 2.5. Like you said, if it were 3, I would give it a stronger look.
Yeah.
And I made the game pick 'em, so I don't think Dallas is deserving of being a 2.5 point road favorite. That implies that Dallas is more than a 3-point favorite, maybe a 3.5 point favorite. So as you go through 3, right? I usually give 1.5 for home field, but I always drop anything over a field goal. I kind of automatically drop a 0.5 point. Dallas is not 3.5 points better than the Jets. Dallas' defense is horrible. Why can't the Jets put up 30 points? Not 30. Let's call it 24 to 27 points. Why can't the Jets put up 24 to 27 and keep this a close game? So what's the over-under in this game? This game is 47.5, 48. Yeah, I think the over is a good play. I think there's going to be points in this game. But I don't really love going in and betting that because, again, the turnovers the Jets have shown. Braylon Allen's now on IR. It's going to be a heavy dose of Breece Hall. Is that good or bad? I don't know. I always thought Breece Hall was better than Braylon Allen. The Jets might not agree to that, but I don't know. I feel like there'll be better games that we'll agree on.
Yeah. Well, maybe this next one. We have Raiders at the Colts. This line is 6.5 in a couple places, but the Vegas up to -115, 7 in most sports books now. I'm a big fan of the Colts this week. I think this is a good spot for them. They're coming off the loss to the Rams, and anytime you have a much better team coming off a loss against just a really bad team, I think you have to look at them, and especially if the line is fair. And I think that this line is definitely fair. I think this line should actually be higher even. And then you have the Raiders, who there are 2 main issues with the Raiders outside of the Raiders just sucking in general. The first is that Colton Miller's out. So the Raiders couldn't block already, and now they don't have Colton Miller. Like, this offensive line is going to be a complete disaster against the Colts team that is getting after the quarterback a lot. DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart in the interior were already at a big advantage, and now you have the edge guys without Colton Miller. Like, that's just going to be a huge problem for the Raiders. Like, they're not going to be able to block it all. And the second thing is, like, this travel schedule for the Raiders is insane. I don't know if you caught this. I talked about this with Andy last night, but week 1, they went from Las Vegas to New England to play 1:00 start time on the East Coast. Then week 2, they fly back to Las Vegas to play the Chargers. Week 3, they fly back to the East Coast to play Washington at 1:00 start time. Week 4, they fly back to Las Vegas to play the Bears in Las Vegas. Week 5, they fly back to the Eastern time zone to play the Colts. Like, this, like, how jet lag could this team be? Like, this is crazy. So I just think there's a lot of advantages here for the Colts, and this line should be higher. So I really like Indy here. What do you think?
I don't know. I'm not. I don't know that I'm in agreement. I certainly don't like the Raiders side. I don't really like either side. I think the line's right. So I'm with you on the Colts, generally speaking, right? I think the Colts are a much better team than we thought originally. I've now kind of shifted gears to be on them. We were on them against the Rams. I should have covered last week, of course. A.D. Mitchell decided to pull the Jonathan Taylor from the year before and just kind of walked into the end zone and threw the ball away. I'm not quite sure what he was thinking. He didn't drop the ball. He was trying to show. I don't know what he was thinking. They're number 1 in the league passing. 8.9 yards per attempt. That's pretty unbelievable, Daniel Jones. But the Raiders are off a tough loss. I mean, they had a game-winning field goal blocked. I get it. Colton Miller being out is huge. They can't block, but they're moving the ball. They had 7.5 yards per carry last week. Genty finally with a little bit of room. And they're -3 in turnovers. So if they don't have those turnovers, Geno can make some plays. Geno's been throwing the ball deep. He can make some plays. I just feel like this line's a little high. I made the line 6, so it's going back to what I said before about the Browns-Vikings game, you had Browns with 13 points. In this game, I saw you wrote down 27-13. I also had the Colts with 27, but I had it 27-23. So I feel like there's backdoor potential. And now we're asking the Colts to start laying points and winning by margin. And I think that's a tall order. I think they're a good team. I think they're going to win a bunch of games. But now asking them to start covering touchdown favorites, to me, is not really a great play. And so I'm not necessarily in agreement with laying 6.5, 7. Circle line 7. Super contest is 6.5. Laying 7, I don't think that's the right move.
Well, they're two of their wins this year against Group F teams, at least they're 33-8 and 41-20. Now the Raiders aren't a Group F team. They have a little more talent than that, but they're not that much better than those teams. Like, I know Geno can make some plays. He can also give the ball away too, especially with no blocking. Like that. That's a big issue. Like, they ran the ball so well against the Bears, but they haven't run the ball well against anyone else. And I think that was more of the Bears just being a terrible defense. Like the Bears can't stop anyone. The Bears have a lot of issues with the injuries as well. But then you have, I think this like kind of reverts to what we saw before, because going into week 4, Ashton Genty was dead last in yards before contact. He actually had negative yards before contact. Like he has to juke players in the backfield. That wasn't the case last week. I should play Genty in DFS because I thought he'd have a great matchup against the Bears. But this Colts run defense is awesome. Let's see where they rank. They're definitely very high. They're third. The Colts are third in run defense. So the Bears are, so the Raiders are not going to be able to run the ball. Geno's going to have to throw against this good pass rush behind no offensive line. I think this could be a bloodbath, kind of like we saw week 3 with the Raiders playing the Redskins. They got blown out. I think this could be a similar blowout.
It could be. And this is, when we talk about Survivor, the Colts are one of my outside looking in possibilities. Some real good pick for Survivor. Yes. I think it might be. I'm leaning towards the Colts in week 8 against Tennessee. But with my 4 entries, I'm not looking to take the Colts 4 times in a couple of weeks. So it is a maybe for me with Survivor. I am worried a little bit about the back door because I've seen Geno in the fourth quarter lead game-winning drives. I've seen Geno chuck the ball and make some plays. And just we're asking a team to now cover -7. Again, I told you this when we talked about contests from day one. You know, we're both in both Super Contest and Circa. One contest has a 6.5. I would consider it more at 6.5, although I still don't really love it, than the -7, which I think it's not a bad line, but we're getting a better line in one contest. So I don't love it at -7. I still think we're going to find other games. You could put it down as a maybe, but I'm on the other side right now. If for office pool purposes, I think the Raiders cover.
Okay. All right. I put it down as a maybe. This is one of my top plays of the week, so I like it a lot. I do think it's a good play for Survivor. Like I said, I bought into 2 entries in the DraftKings, and I used the Colts in one of them. So are they in any of your 4?
No, not right now. They're an outside. They're an outside looking in.
Okay. How about Fields over rushing yards against the Cowboys? Yeah, I think you could go that route. I haven't looked at the number yet, though. If it's reasonable, you could definitely bet it. I have to kind of check what Dallas has done against mobile quarterbacks. Sometimes teams do well against mobile quarterbacks, but honestly, I can't imagine Dallas has done well against anything defensively. So I don't know, but yeah, I think I would go over just thinking about it, but I have to see what the number is and stuff. Okay. Next game is Broncos at Eagles. This line is Eagles -3.5. Still waiting on the Lane Johnson news. Just wanted to check because I know that yesterday he was limited in practice, which just don't know what that means. Okay, he was full in practice today, so that's big. I thought if Lane Johnson was out in this game, I would definitely be on the Broncos. The fact that he's probably going to play, I still think I'm on the Broncos, but I'm less enthusiastic about this game. I think this is a terrible spot for the Eagles coming off 4 straight wins, including one in Tampa. It's kind of, it's a revenge game of sorts in 110-degree weather. And then they have to play the Giants, their arch rival Giants in 4 days. The Eagles, if you look back, I'm not a big trends guy, but if you look back, they have an awful ATS record before they play the Giants. So the Eagles and Giants hate each other. I know like the Eagles Cowboys is known as like the biggest rivalry, but I think it's more Eagles fans versus Cowboys fans. I think like team wise, I think Eagles Giants is the biggest rivalry here. So even though the Giants stink, they have a new quarterback. The Eagles have to prepare for this guy on just 3 days of rest after this. So I think they could be distracted here, and like really, they're not going to be penalized for losing this game. Like they're 4-0. They're well ahead of everyone. If they take a loss here, it's non-conference. Like it's not going to impact them for the rest of the year. Whereas like Denver, they didn't beat any good or great teams last year. And this could be like their chance to make a statement here to kind of show everyone like, yeah, we are legit. So given their defense, like I feel like they should be able to hold the Eagles down. The Eagles won't score too many points. And you brought this up a couple weeks ago where you kind of question if like the Eagles are going to be this team that doesn't win by margin, kind of like the Chiefs, because they've had so much success in the playoffs. It's like why would they care about an early October game against a non-conference team? So I love the spot for the Broncos. I just really wanted Lane Johnson to be out so I could like put an even bigger play on it. But I think I will be better in Denver though. So what do you think about this game?
Yeah, you said it exactly. I mean, even though the Eagles have not been that team that's not covering these 3.5 last 2 weeks, they're 3.5 point favorites. We're against them both times and we lost both. Yeah. Now, obviously 2 weeks ago was the bad beat with the Rams. So I think the markets are still giving them that 3.5. My power rating in this game is 5.5, but I still like Denver. Philly last week, they had 3.4 yards per play. Hurts was 0 for 8 passing in the second half. Now, is that because they led 24-6? Maybe. But he was still 0 for 8 passing. That's hard to do, right? You can't complete a pass in the second half of the game. And that game ended up being somewhat close. Obviously, they took the safety at the end to make it 6, but it's still a one-score game late. So you would think that, hey, complete one pass, 2 passes, 4 passes the entire half. I feel like they're just kind of sleepwalking through these games. Saquon was bottled up. Denver's looking alive. I don't see why Denver isn't a live dog in this game, given that it is a look ahead to the Giants on the short week. It's a non-conference opponent. I don't like what I'm seeing from the Eagles offensively. I know they can turn it on. I know they were able to come back with the Rams when they had to. If they're down in this game, maybe there's a live bet to make for them to come back. They're finding ways to win. So I think there's going to be value going forwards because my power ratings are high enough that make this team a legitimate favorite. But I kind of like the Broncos. Now, I highlighted 7 games this week. This is number 7. So is it a top 5, top 3 pick? Probably not. But definitely a game that I would consider getting that 3.5. And you know what? This is probably going to be one of those teams that we take and we'll lose. We'll have a bad beat to lose. We'll lose by 4. Right? They'll be losing by 3. The Eagles will be losing by 3 late. They'll be milking the clock. There'll be a 4th and 4 situation. And they'll kick a field goal with 1:30 to go and win by 6. That's what's going to happen in this game.
Well, no. Okay, that's part of what's going to happen. The other part is that Denver's going to have just enough time to drive down the field, and they do. They score a touchdown. Think, oh man, they tied the game. They're going to win by 1 on this extra point. But no, it's blocked, and the Eagles return it, and that Denver still covers there. Let's pretend that Denver doesn't cover in that situation because that's what happened in that Rams game. What
did you make the line in this game? Because I was a little surprised that this line was really only 3.5. That's a lot of respect for Denver.
I made it
Philly to be 3.5.
I made it 6.
Yeah, I would have loved to be like a 4.5 to 6 dog.
Yeah,
no brainer. No brainer pick for me. 3.5 feels like the market's really giving Denver a lot of credit. I'm not impressed with Bo Nix. They blew out Cincinnati. Great. Nix wasn't good. He threw another pick in the end zone.
Yeah.
All he does is throw the ball short. He throws the ball behind the line of scrimmage. He's 25 for 29 last week, throwing the ball short. He had 3 attempts last week passing 20 yards downfield. Guy can't throw the ball downfield.
Yeah, I'm not. He's okay. I think he's gonna be okay. Like I don't think he's gonna be bad. I don't think he's gonna be great. Like he's gonna be like maybe like an Alex Smith type of game managers, or like maybe that's like his ceiling.
Maybe okay. I can see that Alex Smith. It's a good comp. And also Lane Johnson. Even if he's practicing in full, is he healthy, or is he going to go out in the middle of the game again?
So that's
somewhat compromised. Yeah. That there's some value for us.
Yeah. So That's true. He could go out of the game, and that's I think part of the reason, or a big part of the reason why the Jalen Hurts is 0 for 8 in the second half. They lost Lane Johnson, and anytime this team has lost Lane Johnson, they just suck. They just like their offense does nothing. It's kind of crazy how much of an impact he has all the time. They have other good linemen, like Jordan Mailata is awesome. But if Lane Johnson goes out, that's it. It's over. So this guy is just an incredible player, even in his age now. So, he did practice in full today, which was discouraging for the Broncos pick potentially. But I still like the plus 3.5. And it did open 4.5. The Sharps dragged it down to 3. Luke, by the way, said it's a huge public dog. Actually, I'm seeing sharp money on Denver because it's like 55-45 betting on the Eagles, but like the money is like 67%, I think, on Denver. So looks like sharp money is dragging the line down, but it hasn't gone to 3 yet, which is kind of interesting. So maybe it will by kickoff. So I like Denver. I know you said you like Denver, so I put this in the maybe pile. So we now have 3 maybes and no definites. So hopefully we get some more definites. I don't think we're going to have a play in this game. It could be wrong, though. Giants at the Saints. This line is Saints minus 1.5. Andy and I had like a big debate about this last night, and I was like, the entire time I was thinking, like, I really don't like either side in this game. Why am I like engaging in this like heated debate with Andy on the Giants Saints? I look, the Saints are one of the worst teams in the league. They should not be favored over anyone, even the Giants. The Giants can at least like do some things well. They can get after the quarterback. Jackson Dart looked exciting last week. He was running around. He wasn't like perfect, obviously, but he did make some plays. I think he's definitely better than Russell Wilson at this point. Russell Wilson's just a disaster, unless he's playing Dallas. The Giants can run with Scatabo. Now I know Neighbors is out, but I think they're like, the Giants are the better team, I think, but I don't want to take them either. Coming off the upset win against the Chargers, it's like a bad spot. But I don't know. Maybe there's something with this Jackson Dart hype, and maybe it's like remember the Tim Tebow starts back in was it 2011, where he just kept covering the spread. It was so much fun. Maybe that's going to be what Jackson Dart does here for the Giants. I don't know. I'm not going to touch this game. What do you think about this one?
Well, we're not going to touch the game. That much I agree with you.
Yeah.
I made the Giants. My power rating has the Giants favored, but I like the Saints in the game. Sorry, I don't like anybody in the game, but I'm picking the Saints in the game because they competed last week. Buffalo did not care. Buffalo is just walking through the game. I don't think the Saints off of that loss are deflated. I think they come out of that game feeling like, hey, we compete. The Saints are going to win a game this season. They're not going to go 0-17.
Yeah.
I think they come out of that game feeling like they competed again. They've been fighting every week. They're not good. Some of their points are garbage time, right? The Arizona game, the Niner game. But they're playing hard. The Giants, on the flip side, just got their big win. Even though Neighbors is now out, which is very deflating, they still got their first win. They're all excited. Dart might be good in the future, but right now he's one-dimensional. They just want to run the ball. He wants to run the ball. Now you're asking the Giants to go on the road and now win a game off of that celebratory win. I don't like it. And by the way, Taysom Hill is coming back this week. Okay? So let's not go crazy about Taysom Hill. We all know what he can do and what he's going to do. He's going to take that wildcat and he's going to run. Who's not good at stopping the run? The Giants. They're tied for last in rushing defense. They give up 6.1 yards per carry, them and the Bears. That's crazy. That's a lot of yards per carry. I could see Kamara having a big game. I can see Taysom Hill having a big game. And their fans are just drunk. Their fans are excited. When they play New Orleans, they want to watch them win. So there's no reason why that team's not going to compete. We're not putting money on this game. We're not going to take it as a pick. And I don't like the Saints being favored and laying points. I see a comment about Rattler, who's not an NFL starting quarterback, being favored when he hasn't won a game ever. If the Saints lose this game, I don't know when they're going to win a game. So I have the Saints to win because I just marked them down. Hey, they're not going to lose every game. This is the right spot for them to take. And I think they get their first win here. I think it's going to be a low-scoring, boring game. A lot of running, a lot of clock moving. So low scoring for that. Maybe 20-17, 19-16. But this is not a contest pick. So shame on anybody who's losing money on the Saints, Giants, or Miami, Carolina games this week.
Is Taysom Hill really coming back? I know he was
limited
twice.
Yeah.
I saw he's limited twice in practice, and they opened the 21-day window for him to come back, but I didn't see anything official for that.
Nothing. I don't think that's something official, but I did see that he was trending towards playing.
Okay, interesting. I assume that he would be back in the next 3 weeks. I just didn't know if it was this week. So I did draft him a couple times in round 20 of week 5 onward best ball. So I hope he comes back. That'd be nice. But yeah, the Giants run defense is awful. So that we just saw that with Hampton. I played both Hampton and Genty in DFS last week, and so that worked out. At least it worked out until Pearsall got hurt and Taylor's touchdown run got negated. That ruined potential big payout, unfortunately.
Listen,
not betting this
strong
game.
recommendation just to not bet Miami, Carolina, New Orleans Giants. Just don't bet.
Yeah. If I would say if Taysom Hill does not come back, I think you might want to look at one of the Saints running backs over for yardage, depending on what it is. But I don't really see anything otherwise. So we might as well move on to the next game and talk about debates. Andy and I talk about this one for like 25 minutes. The Ravens. The Texans are now -2 or -2.5. Just keeps creeping up. The advanced line on this game was Ravens -10. Now it's moved 12.5 points, which you would think is a lot for one player, but it's more than one player. The Ravens are missing so much talent on really both sides of the ball, and really their defense is just in shambles. Like they have no one. They lost. They're already down Justin Madubuike, Kyle Van Noy, and now they're gonna be down Roquan Smith, Marlon Humphrey, Nate Wiggins, and a couple other guys. Like rotational guys on the defensive line too. So, like, what do the Ravens have left? It's like Derrick Henry, Kyle Hamilton, Tyler Linderbaum, and like that's it. Like Rashad Bateman, Mark Andrews, like Zay Flowers. Like this team has nothing left. So they have Cooper Rush going against a Houston defense, which has not been as great as we think, but it still has been very good at times, and they have great talent. And so I view them as a potential top 10 defense. And so you have a backup quarterback going against a top 10 defense, usually a bad thing. And we saw it last year. Cooper Rush played against the Texans on Monday Night Football. His stat line doesn't look that bad, but most of the yardage came in garbage time. He threw an interception and fumbled twice. It was a disaster. The Texans blew out the Cowboys. I remember that game vividly because I bet the Texans alt line. I think it was like -17.5 or -20.5, whatever it was, it covered. And so I just thought that was a great play, and this is sort of the same play. And Houston, despite winning, like they are 1-3, so they kind of have to get in gear here, and so I don't think they can be like fat and happy off the win against Tennessee. So I do like Houston, as crazy as it sounds, like given the line move and stuff like that. But I wish like they were +3.5 on Monday night. I was staring at that. I was like, wow, I love Houston here. I was like, maybe I'll bet it, and I didn't, of course. And like now Houston's -2.5. But what do you think about this one? Because like I said, Andy and I talked about this at length. So what do you think?
Well, you hit the major points. I did highlight Houston again. Okay. Another kind of like borderline top 5 pick. Baltimore is just ravaged by injuries. I mean, you laid it out. The team is missing everybody. I mean, they don't have their offense. Their offense doesn't work because Lamar's not there, and their defense is missing like 7 starters. So, and there's a major revenge factor here for Houston. Houston's gotten blown out by this team like 5 times in a row.
Yeah.
Last year they lost 31-2. Remember that game? That game was 31-0 before the late
Christmas, right?
Was that a Christmas game? Yeah.
Yeah.
The play in this game is again the under because Houston is awful. I finally admitted to myself last week. Again, I had 3 teams in Survivor last week, and the 2 people that I have Survivor with, they said to me before, it's like, are we really taking these 3 teams who have a combined like 3 wins? We had New England over Carolina, snooze fest, easy winner. We had Houston, and they're 6-0 at halftime. Yeah. I had to leave the volume on that game because I was just pissed off watching that game. I need to get this game off my main TV right now, because I was nervous that they were going to give up a touchdown. All of a sudden, it's 7-6. Once they took a 2-score lead, the game was over. I wouldn't be excited about Houston that they won 26-0. The Tennessee is just a dead man walking. Houston's offense is dreadful. Houston actually improved, though, because now they're the number 2 worst third down conversion team. They're still below 30%, obviously, Tennessee is worse than them. But even with Baltimore's issues defensively, can I trust Houston to score? They don't score. On 2nd and 10, they run the football. It's pathetic. In short yardage situations, they run the football and they can't pick up short yardage. They're better 3rd and 7 throwing the ball with Stroud, but they can't block. I sent you a clip of one possession where Stroud got sacked the second he took the ball. Snap, sack. 4 linemen, actually 2 linemen blocked each other. And then the other 3 linemen went to somebody else and like triple teamed a single defender. Their offense is absolutely broken, but you can't be on Baltimore without a team. And Baltimore might be so deflated now, given they're going to be 1-4. I still think Baltimore, if they get healthy, meaning they get Lamar and anybody back on defense, I still think they're going to win the division. You might want to look towards Pittsburgh right now, plus 185 to win the division. That's not a bad bet. Because let's say Cincinnati's not winning the division and Cleveland's not winning the division.
Right.
So if Baltimore doesn't get their act together, Pittsburgh at 2-1 might not be a bad play. Or Pittsburgh just to make the playoffs is like minus 140, which means now you can win the division and get in, or be one of those like 9-8 teams that can have tiebreakers. Remember New England, they beat New England. So they have a couple of wins now where they can get tiebreakers over other semi-mediocre teams. So looking towards Pittsburgh to win the division or make the playoffs might be a good spot right now. But I like Houston. So I like the spot for Houston. I don't like their offense. I like the under. This is a dead nut under team. They're 4-0 to the under. They can't score. But you can't be on Baltimore. They're missing the whole team. So I don't know why this took 25 minutes for you and Andy to discuss. To me, there's no team. Houston, to me, is still a potential playoff team. They're an average team. They have a great defense and a horrendous offense. So bet the under and move on.
Well, Andy was on the Ravens. He said his argument, I think, was that it's too much of an adjustment for just one player, Lamar Jackson.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I hear that from pros all the time. That how much is one player worth? Totally irrelevant. Totally irrelevant. You're asking them to win a game with Cooper Rush, with not great receivers, with no defense. They have 7 missing starters. How do you quantify the adjustment? You can't talk about the adjustment, right? What are we adjusting for? They're missing 7 out of their 11 starters in the game.
Yeah, they have nothing. I think there's a little bit of reason to be optimistic about Houston's offense, relatively speaking, just because they got Woody Marks involved in the fourth quarter last week more so than before. Like he was getting like a couple touches here and there, but like he became their primary guy in the fourth quarter, and he has just so much more explosion than Nick Chubb at this point, both as a rusher and a receiver. So he could be like a good weapon that they haven't had in the backfield. Doesn't make their offense good, but it makes their offense at least a little bit functional. So
I love the under in this game. Houston's defense is really, really good.
Yeah.
And their offense is awful.
Yeah. The only thing that would scare me is Cooper Rush showing like a pick 6 or 2 pick 6s, but
could be.
Yeah. Otherwise,
by the way, I don't even see an over/under on my board because this is not even on my lines right now. I'm looking at one of the odds things that has DraftKings, FanDuel, Circa, Superbook, Caesars, BetMGM. I don't even see a line here. Do you see an over/under? What's the over/under you have on your page there?
Where's the game? I
don't even see the game.
The game's not even listed.
It's not even listed.
Yeah, what is up with that? Let me go to FanDuel or something. Why is this game not listed?
It's not listed because they don't have a team.
It's listed on FanDuel. I wonder if I could bet it, but it is. If you go to FanDuel, it is listed. The total's 40.5.
48.5?
No, 40.5. 40.
Oh, I thought you said 48.5. I was ready to go take out a loan. 40.5. This is a game where if you're watching this game and you just see that it's run, punt, or run, incomplete pass punt, and you're playing field position and the clock is moving, this is a game where you play the first half under, team total unders, and hope that you don't get a crazy turnover or a special teams play that leads to points. But these teams offensively are not going to move the ball.
Yeah, that's for sure. Houston a little bit more so, I think, with Woody Marks, but you're not going to expect the greatest show on turf or anything like that from that. But that was a funny clip that you sent me. Like it's I've never seen two offensive linemen on the same team block each other. That's quite the
It was
impressive thing.
hilarious.
Yeah,
That exemplified their offensive line.
Yeah, I had
Stroud
to
got
watch it.
sacked the second he took the ball.
Yeah, I had to watch that like 3 times. Like, did they really just block each other? What were they doing there?
They did.
Like, what's the thinking there? Like, are they like colorblind? Did they not see like the other, like what the other color jersey is? Like, it's weird. Yeah, Texans 34, Cowboys 10. That was the game that Cooper Rush started against Houston last year.
One more thing about the Texans, because this is a little bit more. I forgot who I heard this from. It may have been on the guy Greg Cosell, who's excellent. If you're not watching NFL films, the Greg Cosell clips, and he breaks down a lot of quarterback play. I'm pretty sure it was him who said, watching Stroud kind of handle the protections pre-snap, they get to the line. It's really his job to do that, right? You watch Brady in the past, Peyton Manning, and I'm certainly not comparing anybody today to those guys. But pre-snap, he's got to change his protections at the line. And they said on that particular play that it was on Stroud. He's changing protections. He's telling linemen where to go, who's moving into which gap. And he's confused, or he's confusing the linemen. That was just a complete bust of pre-snap protection. Because they literally got off the ball, 2 guys blocked each other or bumped into each other, and then 3 guys went to the left, and the entire middle just literally he took a snap and got sacked as he took the snap. It was the fastest I've ever seen a quarterback get sacked. And that's really not on the offensive line. It's on the quarterback. So Stroud might not be very good at pre-snap understanding what he's seeing, calling protections out. And it's not something we can really quantify. And it's not something the announcers are picking up on. You have to watch guys like the Greg Cosells of the world who break down the film afterwards, who show you what's supposed to happen, who's supposed to move where, or watch some of these offensive linemen who know what they're talking about. It's like, who's in the A gap? The A gap was parted on both sides. That's got to be something wrong with Stroud. So we keep making fun of this offensive line and the offensive coordinators. I'm very down on Stroud.
Yeah, I am too. What was he saying? They're like, hey, 60, block 69. They're like, wait, we're on the same team. Like, no, trust me. It'll work. That was not good. Did not work. That Texans Cowboys game. Yeah, I remember betting the -20.5 alt line, which worked brilliantly on Monday night. Broncos covered the -20.5. We got +420 on that, so it's nice. The Texans worse. They also had Bobby Slowick last year. Well, let's not forget that Slowick had Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs for half the year, and he had Laramie Tunsil. So this guy had much more talent. I've heard that, just from listening to shows. You're like, oh, Bobby Slowick, maybe we were too critical on him last year. I'm like, no, they had so much more talent last year. Let's not forget that. Bobby Slowick was not a good coordinator. So all right. Would you put that down as a definite? Houston, what is the line on Circa?
2 in Circa.
Is that a definite or
I wouldn't put it as a definite. I highlighted it. So them and the Broncos, I highlighted as like my 6 and 7 game.
Okay.
They wouldn't necessarily be my top 5, but it would be a top 5 consideration.
All right, I'll put it on top of the maybe pile then. Okay. Next game is Titans at the Cardinals. From talking to you last week, I mean, we strongly disagreed on this game. I don't know if your opinion has changed, though. I still love Arizona here. I think this is a great spot for them coming off 2 straight losses, and they're the easiest handicap in the NFL. I think they can't beat the good teams. They always crush the bad teams. The two bad teams they played this year, they're up by double digits against the Saints in week 1. They're up 27-3 against the Panthers in week 2. And I know they allowed a backdoor touchdown against the Panthers, but that was like a 4th and 16 completion to Bryson something. I forget whatever the guy's name was. Bryson Tremaine on the Panthers. And like that situation, I think, is different than this one because in that game they were coming off a win. This game they're coming off 2 straight losses to divisional teams, so they kind of have to get going here. I think they're going to be more motivated in this spot. And Tennessee is just a dreadful team. I know they've played 3 tough opponents so far, like 3 Group B teams. Like they've taken on the Colts and the Rams and the Broncos, but at the same time, like, the Cardinals are still a team that beats up on these awful teams, and so I think that I like Arizona a lot here. They're going to be on my card. They're one of my top plays, but I'm curious if you've changed your stance on this game.
Well, they beat up on bad teams until the backdoor cover comes into play. So last week
Yeah.
I wouldn't say we strongly disagreed. On my advanced lines last week, I made this game like 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, games happen and I make adjustments, right? So my adjustments after last week, and Arizona was dreadful last week. They were really, really bad.
Yeah.
Kyler in that game took 6 sacks. He's not a good quarterback, right? He's just not good. They came back and tied the game and actually bet them late as a joke when they were down 14. Just for fun, why not? I got 9-1 odds. We talked about that on last week's show. But I did make some adjustments. So I lowered Arizona by 0.5 point. I thought that was fair. And now I have them as my number 23 team in the league. I dropped them from 18 to 23. I have them just ahead of the Raiders, okay? And just ahead of the Raiders and behind Chicago and Dallas. That's Dallas with a healthy CeeDee Lamb. But I made a huge adjustment on Tennessee. I had them 30th, and now they're 32nd. And I lowered them by 3 points. And that's crazy. I don't usually lower anybody by more than like 1.5, maybe 2, barring injury, of course. This team is dead man walking. This team was 2 for 11 on third down. They had 10 first downs for the entire game. Cam Ward was 10 for 26 passing. Granted, that's Houston's defense, which is much, much better than Arizona's defense. Tennessee has not covered a game since week 12 of last year, depending on where you got week 1 Broncos line, right? Because they lost by 8, and that line closed 8.5. But all week it was 7, 7.5. So if you got that line right before the game, you lost or you won with Tennessee. Mm-hmm. Outside of that, call it a push. They have not played well since in basically a year. They're the worst offense in the league by far. Callahan's going to get fired probably pretty soon. My guess, when is their bye? Tennessee's got a bye after week 9.
It's a week 10, yeah. It's
week 10. Mm-hmm. If they don't have a win by then, I would say that he's going to get fired. This is now a back-to-back road game. Next week is a 3rd game in a row on the road. So all these tough spots, not tough opponents necessarily, but if they keep losing to mediocre teams. So this week, I changed my line from 4.5 on the look ahead to 7.5. So I'm right in line with the market. And it's very hard to take a team like Tennessee where they literally just don't cover ever. So I picked Arizona to win the game 24-13. So that means I have Arizona. Do I like it? No. Am I betting them? No. I'm taking them in Survivor. I've burned Arizona twice already, so I'm probably going to use Arizona on my remaining 2 cards where I have them available. And I'm not super comfortable with that because I just don't like this team. I don't like Kyler. I don't like that offense. They have no running back. They don't run the ball well anyway. Right? Connor was pretty good. Without Connor there, I don't think they have much of a running game. Harrison is not playing well. I know he had a touchdown last week, but he's lost confidence. And Kyler just takes these bad sacks. Now we have a team that's getting off of a shutout loss, 26-0 shutout loss. Maybe there's, hey, we're going to play a little better. I don't know what to expect. I certainly don't want to be on Tennessee, but it's hard for me to lay Arizona more than a touchdown, especially knowing what they did against Carolina and New Orleans. They were up in those games big. They should have lost the New Orleans game. Sorry, they should have lost. Was it the Carolina game? Both of them they should have lost. New Orleans was a broken up pass in the end zone away from winning that game. And Carolina had the ball back off after an onside kick. So do I trust Arizona to win these games by margin? I don't. Mm-hmm. Would I give it to you? Sure. It's always fun to go against the number 32 team in the league, a team that has no interest in scoring, a team that has no idea how to coach, and a team with a quarterback who's just not ready to play. So all these things we know, but I don't like laying Arizona 7.5.
Yeah, it's understandable. I just think that, they usually take care of business against these bad teams. I know that they allowed the backdoor touchdown and they were kind of sloppy in the fourth quarter against the Saints, but it was, like I said, it was they're coming off a win in that Panthers game, and now they're coming off 2 losses. And as bad as Murray looked at times last week, you have to remember that he usually does look bad against these bad teams, but then he dominates he does look bad against the good teams, but and he dominates the bad teams because the bad teams can't really stop what he does, like what he does the best, which is run around and make creative plays. Sometimes, like the good defenses can just stop that.
Talk to me about Arizona's pressure, because last week Houston pressures well. Obviously, they pressured Cam Ward 16 times. He was 3 for 12 under pressure. You pressure this guy, and you see it right away. And I mentioned this, and you pointed out that I mentioned this before the season began. He holds the ball too long. He did that in college. He tries to make plays with his legs. He doesn't realize the speed of the game is different than college. And he's not seeing the field at all. So when he's under pressure behind a poor offensive line, who's missing probably their best lineman, he's under pressure and he has no chance. 3 for 12 on 16 pressures, pretty bad. So I could see Arizona having a big lead in this game and then giving up the back door. But again, with somebody who's going to have at least one, probably two big survivors on Arizona, I always get nervous, and maybe that's just my personal bias. I always get nervous that I need to win the game, and I'm not even thinking about the margin. And for some reason, those games, like I said last week, it's 6-0 for the entire half. I don't want this game on my big TV. I don't want the volume on this game. This would be my put it on the bottom 4 o'clock game that I don't want to pay attention to.
Right.
But I'm going to have it in Survivor. It's the right play. You have to take these teams. You have to burn Arizona when you can. And this is the right time to do it. So I will be against Tennessee Survivor-wise. And hopefully this is like last week. My survivors, who was my third survivor last week? So I mentioned I had 3 snooze fests. Oh, Denver, the Monday night game, Denver, 28-3. So I picked 3 teams that were combined like 4 wins, and they won by about 100. So, good.
Yeah, that's
no sweat Survivor week is what I like.
No, yeah, those are always the best. With pressure wise, Arizona is they're about in the middle of the pack. They have 78 pressures on the year. A lot of those have come from their new guys, Calais Campbell and Josh Sweat. This team couldn't get to the quarterback last year, and they really focused on getting better in that department. And they added those 2 guys. They added Walter Nolan as well. But Nolan right now is not playing. I think he's on IR. I'm not sure if he's due to come back this week. I haven't checked, but they have guys who can get to the quarterback for sure. And like you said, Tennessee's best offensive lineman's out. And really their second best defensive lineman's out, T'Vondre Sweat. So who pointed that out? It was someone pointed that out here. But so I think that I just think Arizona looks really good here.
By the way, the Circa and Super Contest lines are 7.5, but right now Circa moved down to 7.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah. Luke pointed that out. They don't like Sweat. Sweat is such a good player for them, run defense wise. We'll see what they have at the running game. I think Amari DiMercado is not that bad. I think he's done well when given the chance, like relatively wise. But like, I wasn't like a big Trey Benson fan anyway. Like I know they just lost him. I think that he's an explosive player, but like vision wise, like running vision is just not very good with him. Kind of reminded me of like the problem RJ Harvey has right now. So I don't have any issues with Arizona. So we'll I'll
write it down as a maybe.
I put it down as a maybe. We have 5 maybes. We have 5 maybes and 0 definites so far. So the 5 maybes might end up being our card. We'll see.
Well, we haven't gotten to my top 5 picks yet, so we're getting there.
Oh wow,
only 5 games left.
Okay, well, here we go. Save the best for last. Yep. Buccaneers at the Seahawks. The Seahawks are -3.5. I'm going to guess that you like Tampa. We'll see if I'm right. I like Tampa. I'm not like in love with this game, though. I both run defenses are awesome. I can't see Tampa running on Seattle, especially Bucky Irving hurt. I can't see Seattle running on Tampa. No one runs on Tampa. They haven't allowed a 50-yard rusher since early December of 2024. And they faced Christian McCaffrey, Bijan Robinson, Saquon Barkley, Breece Hall. Like none of these guys have hit 50 against them. So it comes down to like the quarterbacks. And I don't really trust Sam Darnold. especially off a win. And you have Tampa coming off a loss, which is a good spot for them. And I trust Baker Mayfield more. But yeah, I mean, I don't like. I mean, convince me what you like here. I'm leaning toward Tampa. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm leaning toward. I like Tampa. Now, I am a little worried about the injuries. Right. I know Baker's a gamer. We said that before. We were on Tampa last week. We lost. Right.
Yeah.
They were down early. It was a punt return was it a punt return or was it a field goal block? And it was a special teams touchdown. I think it was a field goal block for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Or was it a punt return for a touchdown?
I think it was punt block for a touchdown, wasn't it?
Punt block for a touchdown. Okay, I'm half right. So, but they fought back, and their defense was excellent. They held Philly to 3.4 yards per play. Obviously, Philly, that could be a portion of them going to sleep late. You mentioned their defense, especially against the run. That's exactly what Seattle wants to do. If they can get pressure on Darnold, I like it. My power rating in this game makes the line 1.5. I think the Bucs are the better team, and I give a little bit to Seattle for being home. But outside of that, I think this game at most should not be over a field goal. That's for sure. Even if Bucky doesn't play, how much is Bucky really worth? A half a point? I don't really give too many of these running backs much more than that. Even if you give them a point, I still don't think the line should be more than 3.5. So, and also want to look. Seattle's played well thus far, but who have they played? Right? Tampa Bay beat Penix, who's not that good. Houston's offense, the Jets, and then of course Philly led by 18. Seattle faced the Niners' mediocre offense, who can't run the football at all. Pittsburgh, Saints, and the Cardinals. So I think we need to kind of pump the brakes on both teams being a great defense. I agree with you that Tampa will continue to show that they're better than what Seattle is. I don't think Seattle is as good as what everyone's making them out to be. I hear a lot of people talking them winning the division, being competitive for the division, or being competitive for a playoff spot. If Tampa can get pressure on Darnold, I like that a lot. I certainly think they're a live dog to win the game. And I'm getting 3.5 points. To me, it's a no-brainer. As long as Baker's playing, to me, it's a no-brainer that they should be a top 5 pick.
Okay.
What did you make the line in this game?
I made Seattle -5.
Oh, really? Okay, wow.
I have Seattle
significantly better than Tampa.
I have Seattle Group B, Tampa Group C. And Seattle has the extra rest too, so that factored into my line as well.
I have 3 days. I have Tampa number 9 in the league and Seattle at 14.
I think I'd like the reversed.
Wow, Seattle's top 10 team. Let me see. That's interesting.
No, actually, hold on. No, what am I? No, it must be. No, my line is wrong because I thought in my mind I had Seattle as a Group B team. Then actually have in my rankings I have Tampa 12 and Seattle 13. So so it should not be 5. It should be that would be to give 1.5 for being at home, and then maybe half a point for a rest. So I'd make this 2, Seattle -2 then.
That's exactly my point, right? So to me, the line is just off by a good point. I think that's a very valuable point, and I think this game's a toss-up. I could see either team winning the game. I like the 3.5. To me, it's really about the number here more so than the matchup.
Yeah, that adjusted line because that was just in my spreadsheet. This was wrong entry. Yeah, I think I like Tampa. I'm not like crazy about it, but I do like it. So we could put it on the card. But we'll definitely talk about it at the end. All right, so you like these other 4 games. We'll continue with them. Lions at the Bengals. Lions are -10.5. There are some 10s out there, -113.
Contest 10.
Contest 10. Okay, that's a big deal for sure. Yeah, I don't know how you can back the Bengals at this point. They're just such a dreadful team. They can't do anything. Their defense sucks. Their offensive line sucks. Their quarterback sucks. They can't run the ball if they have no quarterback to threaten, downfield. Everyone just stacks the box against Chase Brown. The only thing they have is Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and the quarterback can't get them the ball. Detroit has a defense that's played very well this year, surprising me. So, given that the Bengals are coming off, 1 fewer day of prep time, a team like that needs all the time you can get to play hard against Detroit. And I think there's a reason why teams that get blown out on Monday Night Football really struggle the following week. It's usually because they're bad teams, and bad teams need more prep time, and the Bengals won't have that. So, I have the Lions. The Lions are going to be on my card. So is that who you have here?
Yeah, good. I was annoyed last week that I didn't have the Lions on my card, and strictly because the line was high. Well, the line should be high, right? I have the Lions right now, number 2 in the league. Now, I've been high on the Lions all off season, all year, and I didn't really waver on that even after week 1, where I'm going to give them a pass because let's give them a pass at least for one game. Cincinnati is dead man walking like Tennessee. This team's done. I don't know if they're going to win more than 2 or 3 games the entire season, or 2 or 3 more games the entire season. Their offense last week was just take the ball, and Browning didn't want to get touched, so he's just chucking the ball deep. 3rd and 5, he just throws a go ball that pretty much lands out of bounds. They have absolutely no running game. I talked about the Niners running game. Well, Cincinnati is the one team that's worse. They're averaging 2.6 yards per carry. That's crazy. That's horrible. 3 is bad. 3.5 is bad. 2.5. They can't run the ball at all. Detroit's not going to let them run the ball. Detroit's going to put up 27 to 30 points again. How many is Cincinnati going to get? Last week, Detroit's offense wasn't great against a really good defense. But the really bad offense put them in a situation where Detroit had short fields. Detroit took advantage. Detroit still put up 34 points. If you give me 27 to 30 points, I don't see Cincinnati cracking 17. So I'm very comfortable laying 10, even though it's on the road. And even though it's off of a couple of back-to-back big wins now for the Lions. And I want to see who the Lions play next week.
The Chiefs.
They play the Chiefs on Sunday night. But
yeah.
I think this is a team that's just looking to put up points right now. And I don't see any life out of Cincinnati. So do I like laying 10? No. I didn't want to talk about it last week. But as I look through the games here and I look at this awful 1 o'clock slate, picking Lions-Bengals, that's a blowout staring at you right in the face. How many points would you need to put money on Cincinnati right now? 21.5?
Yeah.
I still wouldn't take it. So it's a bad spot, but their offense, to me, I'm confident in Detroit's offense to put up 27 plus. And this is the other team that I'm looking at in Survivor. And again, we know the rules in Circa. You need to save the teams that play on Thanksgiving and Christmas. Right. Detroit plays home against Green Bay. That's not a great pick. And hopefully Lamar will be back by then. So I have the Ravens against Cincinnati on Thanksgiving. And I have Philly on Thanksgiving. It's a Good Friday game, but it counts as a Thanksgiving Survivor on Friday against Chicago. So I don't feel like I'm really in a bad position by taking the Lions on 2 out of my 4 potential Survivor cards. So right now I'm leaning towards Cardinals and Lions for Survivor with, like I said, an outside shot at Indy and one other team. So I love the Lions here. I'm very comfortable with the Lions to win this game. I'm much more confident in the Lions to win by margin than I am Arizona. We'll put it that way. And I think Tennessee is almost as bad as – Cincinnati is almost as bad as Tennessee.
Yeah,
but I'm very confident in Detroit's offense and their ability to move the ball, especially on Cincinnati's defense.
I don't think people quite understand how bad the Bengals are yet. Because all I heard heading into the Monday night game, I was like, oh, Bengals have a chance. Coming off a big blowout loss, they'll come back. Some guy who charges like $500 for his picks. He's like, yeah, this is a great situation for Cincinnati. I'm like what? Why are you guys taking this awful team against a team coming off 2 losses here that's desperate to avoid 1 and 3? Like I didn't get that at all. I made this line 13.5. I think Andy made this line like 18. So even
like I said, I wouldn't take Cincinnati plus 18.
Yeah, me neither.
I wouldn't want them plus 21. Last week the argument was, hey, Cincinnati's coming off of a blowout loss to Minnesota. Yeah. And the argument this week as well, Cincinnati's coming off a blowout loss. Cincinnati drove the field early in the game last week, and on 4th and 2, they kicked a field goal. You know how much I love that, right?
Yeah.
They kick a field goal, they just quit. They're like, you know what? We're not going to score in this game. We need to take points. We need to get points right here.
Yeah.
And then they got blown out. They lost 28-3. Denver took their foot off the gas late, and Knicks threw a pick in the end zone. That game could have been 42-3.
Yeah.
And Denver's not that great. Denver's an average football team, slightly above average football team. And they got their asses kicked last week. And they're going to get their asses kicked again. And I don't see them winning a lot of games. Last week, I said to somebody, you might want to look at Cincinnati right now on the no playoffs. It was like minus 250. Now it's minus 700.
Yeah, I
Now they're
bet
willing
them.
to bet.
I bet them no playoffs before the season. So
Well, that's
I
what we know.
yeah.
And they're not – look at their schedule. At Green Bay, they play Pittsburgh on a Thursday night. Okay. They play the Jets and the Bears at home. After that, the second half of the season, there's not a lot of wins on that schedule. They play Cleveland week 18. This team's going to win under 6.5 games. I think the line might be 6.5 right now. That's a good under. I don't see them winning 5 more games.
Yeah. I want to check that out as well. What is Cincinnati right now? They are under 6.5 is minus 120.
Bet it.
I like that. So yeah, unless like Burrow comes back magically, like before.
Burrow's not coming back because if they're out of the
Yeah.
playoffs, why on earth would they play?
I'm just saying, like, if he comes back like before people think, if he come back like mid-November randomly, but doesn't sound like that's going to be
That would be a miracle.
Yeah.
6.5 wins for this team. No way.
Yeah, I don't see. Yeah, they're one of the 4 worst teams in the NFL. Like,
I'm trying to see where they'll be favored. They might be favored over the Jets. I don't think they'll be favored at home against the Bears. I don't think they'll be favored at home against New England.
No. It's the Cleveland game is at Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So if Cleveland's out of the playoffs as well, they'll might be favored in that game. But
could be.
Yeah, it's rough scene in Cincinnati. It's an easy way to think about this game. They were not competitive against the Broncos. They lost 28-3. Now on short rest, they're playing a better team than the Broncos. So I don't really see them competing in this game. But think about this comment, Luke, expressing concern that 80% of the money is on Detroit. Makes me nervous. Do you don't put any stock into that?
No, I don't.
Okay. He said Vegas / mob will ensure that the Bengals cover somehow, some way.
Okay.
I think you take that chance. One thing to note, though, the public has been getting slaughtered this year, like absolute bloodbath. I'm going to read off the numbers so I get this absolutely correct. So far, the public this year, and I'm not counting tonight's game. I don't know. I didn't even know where the public was in tonight's game. But so far this year, the public is let's see. It's 2. It was 2-10.
Public was heavy on the Rams tonight. Huge on the Rams tonight. Okay,
so that's the public's now 2-11 in like high bet games this year. No, oh sorry, that was heading into week 4. They're 2-7, 2-10, 1 and they're 2-15. Sorry, they're the public in highly bet sides are 2-15 against the spread this year.
You see the line tonight's game? The line in tonight's game moved dramatically.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money coming in on the Rams side. That's everybody's money tonight on the Rams side.
Yeah. So given that the public has not won, like these things tend to even out. Like the public's not going to go 2-15 every 4 weeks. So they'll be closer to 500. So I don't know. Given that the sportsbooks have won so much money already, like I'm not too worried about it. Decker might be out. Cincinnati returns home after 2 road games. Cincinnati covers. I don't know. Decker never practices. Has something changed this week? Because like he didn't practice at all last week. He still played, So I don't know if that changes.
Only thing that's slowing down Detroit in this game is weather, and I'm going to check the weather report.
I saw like 1% chance of rain, but I looked like 2 days ago, so I don't know if that's changed.
It's a slight chance. Yeah, it shows a slight chance of rain.
Yeah.
So that's something to watch out for. But they have so many weapons on that team. They have so many weapons on that team to put up 27 to 34 points.
Yeah.
I see no reason why they can't put up 27 to 34 points.
Yeah.
I don't see Cincinnati coming close to hanging with them.
Look, Denver scored 28, and like you said, they could have if they scored the 1 yard line when Nick Sosa interception.
Yes, in the second half, they scored 7 points after halftime.
They did. It's like once Dobbins said 100 yards, they took him out of the game. Even they were not. They were not.
This is the type of game where Gibbs and Montgomery could go for 100.
Yeah. I love both in DFS. They could go for both go for 100, both go for 2 touchdowns. That's like one of those games. We saw that against Chicago. They did something similar. Oh no, that was the Baltimore game. They do that sometimes. So that's the sort of game we're going to see. I think Detroit could score into the 40s in this game, given how bad Cincinnati.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. I put down 34.
Yeah,
and I think that could be light.
That could be, yeah. And if they do score 34, I don't think the Bengals are scoring 24.
No.
So that seems far fetched. Like, yeah.
They're not scoring 24 in the next 2 weeks combined.
Right. Yeah. My phone says sunny at 82 in Cincinnati. Yeah, I saw like 1% chance of rain. I'm like what's? But the thing is, like, what you can't predict the weather anyway. So like, what are we doing here? We're trying to handicap NFL games, and we're like, oh, what's the weather? But like, people who
that's what weather, in-game betting is for.
Right. The people who predict the weather can't get that right. So like, they have that challenge. Like, we're like, oh, the weather's gonna be this. Just like, we don't know. All right. Next game. This is the last of the late afternoon games. Redskins at the Chargers. This line is -2.5. What is the contest? 2.5. 2.5.
2.5. Yep.
Okay. So Andy and I had a disagreement on this one last night. Personally, I was like, if Mariota plays, I like the Chargers. If it's Jaden Daniels, I don't know. I mean, he's practiced fully. We just don't know what condition he's going to be in this first game back. That's what concerns me here. If you like the Redskins, like, do you know how Daniels is going to perform? I just don't know. Like, we saw Brock Purdy come back from injury in his first game against Jacksonville. Like, he was clearly hurt. So Jane Daniels getting injured, we were told maybe 2 weeks, and now he's coming back after just 1 week. I don't know. Are they rushing him back? Maybe. On the other hand, you have the Chargers here, who won't have either tackle, but and that is an issue. But a couple things. First of all, the Redskins don't get as much pressure as the Giants do. And second, I trust Jim Harbaugh enough to make a game plan to kind of get around that. It's not going to be perfect, but I do trust him to kind of rally the troops here and come back off a loss that they had, just kind of an embarrassing loss to the Giants. So spot wise, I like the Chargers. I am worried about their tackle situation, but like I said, I think Harbaugh could kind of fix that. And then, like I said, I don't really trust Daniels to be healthy, so I'm leaning toward Chargers. Andy liked the Redskins, so I'm kind of curious. I'm very curious where you fall in this game.
I like the Chargers, and okay. I like the Chargers because even if Jaden plays, it's not even about if he's healthy or not. Let's assume he's healthy, 100%. He still is coming off of a knee injury, so the game plan cannot be for him to run the ball that much. The game plan's got to be for him to take less hits, especially now. I get it. These games are important. They got to win these games. If it's Mariota, the line shouldn't be 2.5. That's a mistake. If it's Jaden, okay, so 2.5 makes sense. As a matter of fact, I actually had the game 2.5, so there's no real value. That's with Alt being out, of course. That to me is worth a full point. So with Alt, this line could be more like a 3.5. But no Joe Alt, no offensive line. I think the line is right. But I don't think Jaden's going to be at his maximum capability, even if he's at 100% health, simply because I don't think the game plan is going to allow him to run that much. Or they certainly don't want him to run that much. Mm-hmm. Washington's a bottom 3 defense against the pass. We've seen already this year that the Chargers are throwing the ball downfield. They have a lot of weapons that they're utilizing. Keenan Allen's in there, Quentin Johnson making the plays, and, of course, Ladd McConkey. Hampton finally had a breakout game last week, really showed a lot of potential late in that game. So I think that there is certainly a possibility of them putting up points in this game and keeping their foot on the gas and throwing the ball downfield. Washington gave up 6.8 yards per play against Atlanta, who I'm not a fan of Atlanta. We've talked about that in the last couple of weeks after watching Penix completely melt down against Carolina. So I like the Redskins in general. I certainly think they're going to be better than what they've showed. Their schedule is tough. I think they're still going to be a potential playoff team. But I like the bounce back spot for the Chargers, and under a field goal, to me, nothing's a no-brainer. But I like the Chargers' top 5 pick.
Okay, nice. So yeah, we're right there. The Chargers are definitely in consideration for my card. I just wanted to see the injury report.
What was Andy's logic here? Again, is it about adjustments of an injured player? What is he thinking?
He just
Washington's better.
He just very down on the Chargers because they don't have either tackle.
Okay.
So,
I
which
like that
like
they're coming off of a loss.
me too. Harbaugh for loss seems great. The tackle concern is an issue, but I think less so here. All they have to do is win by field goal, and they're playing a team with a lesser pass rush. If they're playing a team that got after the quarterback very, very well, very frequently, then I would be worried about that. But like I said, I trust Harbaugh to kind of adjust for these injuries and kind of mask the deficiencies they have right now. And like you said, Washington's pass defense is atrocious. Like
Mm-hmm.
we saw how bad Penix was against Carolina, and like he looked like Joe Montana there against against Washington last week. He was great. Drake London, I had him in my DFS lineup that was looking awesome. So yeah, we're in lockstep with the Chargers here. I like this. So glad we're on the same side. Washington defense to play another level here. I don't see it. Yeah, we're definitely in agreement on this one. Okay, Sunday night, Patriots at Bills. The Bills are anywhere between 7.5 and 8.5. So you kind of get your pick here, depending on which side you like. The main takeaway here for me is that just the injury report is so huge because Matt Milano and Ed Oliver just being out has prevented the Bills from being a good defense. Like past 2 weeks, they've allowed Tua Tagovailoa to look like a good quarterback, and Spencer Rattler last week. Andy was really high on Spencer Rattler. It's like why he likes the Saints this week. But both of them look good against the Bills defense. And
Spencer Rattler.
yeah, Rattler had a decent game against the Bills. Like if Brandon Cooks doesn't drop the touchdown, they take the lead. This just Buffalo's defense without Milano, we've seen over the years, just can't stop anything. But it sounds like he has a good chance to return. He's been limited the past 2 days. Ed Oliver limited the past 2 days. Spencer Brown on offense, he was out. He's limited the past 2 days. So it seems like the Bills, they're going to be in a better health situation here, which is huge, especially with Milano out there. Like the Patriots love to run the ball, and Milano makes Buffalo's defense so much better against the run. So if he's in there, I would be leaning toward Buffalo. If he's out again, if Ed Oliver's out, then I think you have to look at New England. But as like quote unquote bad as the Bills have played the past two weeks, they've won by double digits both times. And if they do that again, they cover the spread because it's only 8 or so. So I'm leaning toward Buffalo. But like I said, if both those guys are out, then I'm not going to touch this game, or maybe I'll swing to the Patriots. But you have this as top 5 picks, so I wonder where you fall in this game.
This is a potential top 1 or 2 pick.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm on New England.
Okay, why?
Yeah. Now, Buffalo has walked through a bunch of games so far
and
has not been overly impressive. Now, I have Buffalo number 1 in the league. So don't get me wrong. I love the Bills. They're my Super Bowl pick. They're my Super Bowl team. I love Josh Allen. I think their team is fun to watch. But they just have been sleepwalking through these games, and you can't fault them. They're playing against the bottom of the league. Right? They've been poor on third down. They're allowing the Saints to hang around. They were never going to lose that game, right? I kind of want them to lose that game because 4,000 people had them in Circus Survivor. And that would have been pretty cool to knock all those people out on what they considered the minus 16 safety net pick.
Yep.
So that would have been nice. But New England's off a blowout, easy win. They didn't really have to do anything. The stats would tell you that the game was closer than it was. But they cakewalked through that game. That game was over the minute they took the lead on that punt return touchdown. Mm-hmm. That matchup here really fascinates me. So New England so far, number 3 versus the rush. They're giving up 3.3 yards per carry against the rush. New England. New England's number 3. I think I saw you wrote that New England's middle of the pack. So I looked at it, and from a yards per carry perspective, they're only giving up 3.3 yards per carry. And Buffalo, we know, is a great running football team. Cook's been great, and Allen runs the ball very well. They're rushing almost 5 yards a clip. So who's going to win out on that battle? Is Buffalo going to get their 5 yards to carry, or is New England going to step up and limit them a little bit? Passing wise, Buffalo has been number 1 in the league versus the pass. But again, who have they faced? They faced Tua. They faced Rattler. So it's hard to really look at the games and say, well, one team's been really good. Buffalo has played outside of the Baltimore game, first game of the season. They haven't beaten anybody. And New England, Pittsburgh, okay, fine. That was really the only good team they played, and they should have beaten Pittsburgh. They had 5 turnovers in that game, 2 of them going into the end zone. So I've been more impressed with what New England has done than what their record shows and what their statistics show. And I feel like they're going to hang around in this game. Now, I went back also and looked at some of the matchups in previous years. Last year, I wrote this down. Let me find where I wrote this down here. Last year, there was a game that Allen played. There's only one game that Allen played that counted. And in that game, Buffalo was minus 14. They trailed 14-0. Now, they won the game. They won 24-21. Yeah. And Cook had 100 yards on 11 carries. But Allen didn't play well. He had 154 yards passing, 1 TD, and a pick. In 23, 2 years ago, Buffalo was minus 8.5 in New England, and they lost outright, 29-25. In the other game, they were minus 14.5. Again, Allen played. Okay. It was against Bailey Zappi. They won 27-21. It was a close game. So Allen has not really blown this team out. He has not really played well against New England when they've been huge favorites, 8.5, 14, and 14.5. So I just think that this game is going to be maddeningly close. Sunday Night Football. If you told me this game is 34-17, I buy it. Maybe 34-10 late. New England gets a late touchdown and makes it look closer than what it really was. Maybe Buffalo comes out. They're ready to put their foot on the gas and take this young, little, hungry team just out to the woodshed, and it's over early. But I can really see this game being close. I love Vrabel. I think he gets his teams ready to play. Their defense has been good. Buffalo absolutely deserves to be a 7.5 to 9.5 point favorite. Anything in that range, I made the line 9. So is there value? Not really. I think this game is going to be really close. I think Buffalo might be behind, and they'll come back and win. Or they could be ahead by 14 or 10 points and give up a late backdoor cover. And this is the other team I was looking at in Survivor. Obviously, I said I'm leaning towards Cardinals and Lions. I love the Lions, and I agree with you on the Cardinals at least winning. And I feel like the Patriots are going to keep this game close. So I almost want to leave Buffalo out of my Survivor mix and save them. There's plenty of times where I can use them down the road and have them as a wild card. But I really think this game, for people who have Survivor, I think this game is going to be really, really good, fun Sunday Night Football game. And it would not shock me if the Patriots won the game. It would not, as crazy as that sounds. So I look at this line, and I looked at it last week right away. It was the first team that I highlighted when I wrote down the spreads. I'm like, you know what? I know the spread should be 9, but I kind of like New England in the game. And as I looked at the matchups, and I looked at last year and the year before's results, when the games are just constantly a minus 14 favorite that's close, or a minus 8.5 point favorite and losing outright, something tells me this game is going to be like 24-24 late in the game, and Buffalo's going to need to find a way to hold on and win. So I like the Pats. Anything more than 7.5, I like it a lot.
Oh, wow. Well, I could go with the Patriots if Milano and Oliver are out. Let me ask you this. So you said that the Bills have been sleepwalking, which is true the past 2 weeks. But they were playing against teams that hadn't won yet. This is the team that is closest to them in the division by default, I guess, but still. And they have a young up and coming quarterback, and people are talking them up as a potential playoff team. Their win total was 9.5. So
it was 9.5 or 8.5.
It was whatever. It's close. It's close.
Mediocre team, yeah.
It's close. So could the Bills be potentially threatened by the Patriots? Like, they lose, they're only up by 1 in the standings against this team. And week 2 against the Jets, they certainly did not sleepwalk through that game. Like, they took the Jets seriously and they crushed them. Like, could this be a similar effort against the Jets that we saw week 2?
Absolutely could be. And if they come out focused, foot on the gas, it could be over early. The game could be 21-3 at halftime. Yeah. But I look back to last year, and those 3 games really jumped out at me because I want to see what the situation was. First of all, make sure Allen played. But they're favored by 14.5 and 8.5, and they're not even sniffing a cover. They lost one of those games outright. That was the game. That was a game in New England. And at home, they're a 14-point favorite, and those games are close. It would absolutely not shock me if they find themselves once again down early or up 10 to 14 points. And that Drake May is going to continue fighting. They're going to try to score late. It means a lot to them late in those games. Unlike Lamar last week, and they're down and they lost, and he decides, you know what, I'm done. And maybe he should have been done, hamstring injury. But you just got the sense last week that the Ravens were like, you know what, we're going to lose this game. We could care less if we lose by 3 or 30. I think New England cares. If they're down by 14 or 21 points, they're not putting in backups. They're going to try. It means something to them to try and to score. And I don't think the line's too high. I think the line's right. But I think this game is going to be very close. And
really
that's why I'm leaning towards not using it as a survivor pick and hoping that maybe there's an upset here or somewhere close to an upset that can knock some of these people out.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you could take the Bills almost any week with that schedule. They had the easiest remaining schedule. Well, heading into last week, they had the easiest remaining schedule in the NFL. I don't know what the case is now, but it's still a very easy schedule. I marked them down as like possibilities for several times in the next few weeks.
Mm-hmm. And that's another reason to save them.
Yeah, for sure. I would say this about the Patriots is what scares me about taking them here. Is that they're the teams they play thus far, 2 Group D teams, the Raiders and the Steelers, and 2 Group F teams, the Dolphins and the Panthers. So they have not even come close to playing a team like the Bills yet.
Well, the Bills have played 3 Group F teams.
Right, but we know the Bills are good. Like
right, fair, yes.
Yeah, I don't think we know how good the Patriots are. Maybe they are a good team. I don't know.
No, I don't think they're a good team. I think they're a slightly below average team, as a matter of fact. Yeah. I have them number 20. So, like I said, I have my line has this game correct. I have the line 9. So I agree with the line. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to make a case for the Patriots because I say they're good. I'm making a case for the Patriots because for some reason these divisional games seem to be close, and I could see this game being really, really close.
What about the 2022 matchups? I forget what happened in those games, but the Bills, they clobbered them at both times in those games. With Belichick, I still was coaching the team. Yeah, because Mayo took over in 2024, and then it was Vrabel.
Well, they beat him in the playoffs that year, 35-23, as an 8-point favorite. They beat him in New England 24-10, and they beat him 47-17.
Yeah, so
I didn't go back that far.
Yeah, so
I was more concerned to see what they did when they were a 14-point favorite, when they were 8-point favorites, kind of in this ballpark recently.
I would say that in those games, maybe they didn't take the Patriots seriously because they just weren't a good team.
Absolutely.
And maybe this is closer to the 2022 games because the Patriots have a chance to make the playoffs. Actually, I think they are a playoff team right now, according to the standings.
Well, this was December of last year. December 20 was probably like week 16?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the Patriots were not a playoff team. The Patriots are they're tied. Right now, Cincinnati is currently in the playoffs right now, but they're 2-2 just because of strength of schedule. New England is tied for the final 7th seed right now. So this is a team that could make the playoffs just because the AFC is so top heavy. And I don't know, I think it really depends on how the Bills view this team. Like if they think they're a threat, I think they could destroy them. But if they take them lightly, like they took the Dolphins lightly and Saints lightly, then yeah, the Patriots could cover, especially Milano and Oliver don't play. So that's a big thing for me too, the injuries. So the fact that they haven't been full yet is a slight concern, I think, if you like Buffalo. But they haven't been DNP yet either, so just don't really know what to make of it yet. I will say though, John Sanders, who's in the chat usually here, he always gets these right. Like I don't know what he reads or nothing or whatever, but he if he says yeah, this guy's questionable, he's definitely gonna play. He plays John's 100% on this, and he said last night, he said Milano plays, but Oliver probably doesn't. So take that for what it's worth. So yeah, that's something that we'll have to circle back on the when we see the injury reports for sure. Because like I said, if both are out, then I think New England looks a lot better. So we'll put that down as a maybe. The final game, we have Chiefs at the Jaguars. This line was 3. In fact, you can still get 3 minus 118 at FanDuel. It is 3.5 in everyone else is 3.5 in the Circa Millions contest as well, and also the Westgate. So they weren't as they weren't as giving as FanDuel. So you have to, if you like the Chiefs, you need to take the minus 3.5 here. So the rule with the Chiefs is that they do the bare minimum to win. They always win by 1, 2, or 3 usually. Now that wasn't the case against the Giants in week 3, but that was Russell Wilson just being abysmal. The Jaguars, I don't trust Trevor Lawrence either, but the Jaguars defense has been really good, albeit against soft competition. They are running the ball pretty well. They have good talent at receiver, at least. They aren't really living up to the potential, but they still have the talent there. So on one hand, I want to take the Jaguars, but on the other hand, the Chiefs with Xavier Worthy have more explosion. They finally have a functional passing attack with Worthy. Offensively, no, they look great last week against the Ravens, but that was a marquee game. This is different. And they're coming off 2 wins in a row, so it's not a great spot. I want to say I like the Jaguars, but just always remember Trevor Lawrence against the Chiefs. He always sucks against the Chiefs. Like he just doesn't do well. I really don't trust him. I don't trust Liam Cohen. I'm really curious about this, where you have this, because I imagine you like the Jaguars based on your role, but I want to hear the defense for the Jaguars, because I don't trust this team at all, despite the record. I know they just won in San Francisco, but I think they're a paper tiger at 3-1, or paper Jaguar, I guess. I don't know. What do you think about this game?
Yeah, are you referring to my rule of the Chiefs that do the bare minimum, as in they're going to win by 3 and the line's 3.5?
Yeah.
Okay, because also the line in Circa right now is 3, even though the contest line's 3.5, so that's a bad number. But I'm not on the Jaguars. I'm on the Chiefs, and I like the Chiefs a lot. Yeah, okay. And I like the Chiefs because they kind of got their ski legs back. They're a little back on track right now. They actually moved the ball last week, granted against a very poor, ravaged, injured defense. To me, the Jaguars are just overrated right now. The Jaguars lead the league in turnovers created. They were +4 again last week in turnovers. They've been opportunistic every single week. They're an absurd 2.3 turnover plus, not turnovers taken, but plus 2.3 turnovers per game. They're averaging 3.3 takeaways per game. That's unsustainable. That leads you to becoming overrated, because that has happened against the Panthers, who are the number 27 YPP yards per play offense. The Bengals, who are missing Burrow most of the game, they're the 31st ranked defense. The Texans, offense, the Bengals offense. The Texans offense, which we've documented is horrendous. And the Niners, who are number 13, but they can't run the ball. And last week, Purdy came back, probably not ready to come back, and basically handed the ball to the Jacksonville defense a couple of times. So all of a sudden, everyone, Jacksonville is a good team. They're 3-1. They're back. They're better. Look at all these turnovers they create. Well, how about the offenses that they've played against? They're not going to create those turnovers against Mahomes. And yeah, it's not a premier game like the Ravens, but it's a primetime game. And one of the reasons why I like Kansas City going into the season is all these games against the poor teams like the Giants, primetime. Jacksonville, primetime. The Detroit game next week, primetime. Kansas City, Chargers week 1, primetime. The games at 1 o'clock are the Philly and the Baltimore games, where I usually expect them to kind of falter. And then, of course, next week, 2 weeks, they play the Raiders at 1 o'clock. That's not a good Chiefs spot, because that's not a primetime game. It's a 1 o'clock spot. And for some reason, that game will find its way to be close. This game, I don't think will be. Now, I make the line 4, so I don't think there's a huge value. And I mentioned the line actually is 3, even though our contest line is 3.5. So there's a lot of folks coming in now and playing that plus 3.5 because perhaps of what they see. Jaguars are 3-1. They're getting 3.5 points at home. I don't like it. I think Kansas City wins this game easily. I think Kansas City wins the game by at least a touchdown. I don't like Lawrence in this spot in prime time against Kansas City's defense. They're finally playing against a much better team, a quality opponent. And frankly, if Jacksonville didn't get that win late against Cincinnati, maybe they're 2-2, or last week didn't get the ball handed to them, maybe they're even 1-3. I still have Jacksonville as a below average football team. I have Jacksonville I actually have them as a 0. So I don't want to call them below average. I have them 16th. They're my 0. I have Kansas City 3rd. So I have Buffalo, Detroit, KC. And now you're giving me Kansas City in primetime? There's no way I'm taking Jacksonville with Lawrence when I don't expect them to win the turnover margin. If you told me that Jacksonville's plus 2.5 in turnovers, or plus 2 even, every single game, sure, I love Jacksonville every game, plus 2 in turnovers. But if they're not going to be plus 2, they're going to be even or minus in turnovers, they're not going to win these games. They're not going to cover these games. So The spread is overrating Jacksonville because of the turnovers. This is Kansas City in prime time. I like the Chiefs.
Okay, I was I was thinking the whole time, like I was like, man, how's Evan going to talk me into the Jaguars here? I can't get to it. So
Good. I'm not trying
I'm
to talk you into Jacksonville.
all right, good. I'm glad that you like the Chiefs. I'm even lower on the Jaguars. I had this line at 5.5. So I like this a lot more at 3. I'll say that. I wish this was still 3. Obviously that's a huge key number, but the Chiefs are a lot better than the Jaguars despite the record and the records of the two teams. The Jaguars' schedule's been so ridiculously easy as you highlighted. So I like the Chiefs here. Especially like not just primetime, but against a team that has a better record than them. Like how often does that happen in primetime games? Like
But
maybe
they do need
like,
the game. That's a good comment there.
right? Yes.
They
Yeah.
need the game. They're 2-2.
Yeah.
They can't mess around with lesser opponents. And they
Yeah.
play Detroit next week. And I haven't done my own numbers, but I'm going to look right now. I have Detroit as a half a point better. This game is in KC, which means I would have Kansas City favored in the game by somewhere between 1 and 2,
Mm-hmm.
1.5 to 2. And that's a great game. I don't know. I mean, I have to look at it, but that's a fantastic game next week. I don't think these teams are going to look ahead. Again, Detroit, I think they're just looking to score. And Kansas City needs a game. And it's prime time. They're not looking ahead on a Monday night game. They're going to be excited on Monday night.
Yeah, and like I said, it's super rare for them to be in a primetime game and to have a team, the opposing team, have a better record than them. Like maybe that happens against the Bills or Ravens occasionally, but this is the Jaguars, who are a lot worse than those teams usually. They have been super lucky with those turnovers. Lawrence is not playing well. I don't think Liam Cohen's coaching very well either. Like he's done really great work with ATN. But with Lawrence, like Lawrence has regressed, it seems, and he can't figure out how to use Travis Hunter. I think this has been a disaster with Travis Hunter. Like they're lucky. He's lucky they're 3-1. Like truly lucky, because with the schedule, if they're 1-3, I think there'd be a lot of questions of like, first of all, why are you yelling at Robert Saleh and also at Trevor Lawrence as he's like running down the field in like the 2-minute drill? Did you see that against Cincinnati? It was a 2-minute drill. Like Lawrence is like rushing to the line, and Liam Cohen just starts yelling at him like on the field. And I know like coaches and quarterbacks have like they get heated in games, but that's usually on the sideline. It's not like like the coach is like red faced yelling at this guy as like the play clock's ticking down and the game clock's ticking down, and Lawrence is trying to hurry up a play. Like that, I don't know. This guy's like such a hothead.
His receivers can't catch.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. I'm really not a fan.
Yeah.
I saw Josh Allen was limited, I think. I'm not sure if he's going to play this week. That's big because Kansas City, we know there are troubles on the offensive line. PFF has Trevor Lawrence rated 29th, tied with Spencer Rattler on their PFF grades. For what it's worth, I mean, obviously these grades are just weird sometimes, but he misses throws that are open. I understand his receivers have dropped some balls. Parker Washington can't catch. Brian Thomas Jr. has got a wrist injury, so he's had trouble catching the ball. They've been winning games because ETN has looked like he's Walter Payton, and they've been winning games predominantly because they are creating turnovers against bad offenses.
Yeah.
So if you told me going into this game that they're going to be +2 in turnovers against Mahomes, then sure, +3.5 is a great bet. But if they're going to be even or behind in turnovers, they're not going to be in this game.
Yeah. We agree on this one. So I'll put this down as a definite here on our cards. So let me hold on one second.
So I told you I like the last 5 games were the games that I liked. Going in, it's the Bucs getting the 3.5 because I like the points. The Lions in a blowout. I like the Chargers to bounce back and win. I like the Patriots catching points and when I think it's going to be a close game. Mm-hmm. And I like the Chiefs to outright win and do what they need to do. If that means they're going to win by 3, we'll take my chances. But I don't think they're going to lose. So I'm comfortable laying the 3.5 with Kansas City. And now we talked about 2 other games. It was the Broncos, which I feel like we're going to lose on a bad beat, or the Texans, which we're going to lose because the offenses can't move the ball. Those were the games that and I know you liked the Cardinals a lot. So, like I said, I'm willing to give you that benefit of the doubt and go against Tennessee, who hasn't covered a game in a year. Outside of that, like you liked the Colts before, I don't see the Colts cracking the 8 games that I just quickly mentioned. And unless you
Okay.
really love the Colts, and again, laying 7, Super Conta 6.5, Circa 7. I don't really like that pick so much.
All right. Well, hold on one second. Do we know if the public bets are on the spread? Looks like
I think
it's
it's
about
too early right now to really look
yeah.
into
Yeah.
what that is.
Right now it's
I don't
like
even know.
50-50 in terms of bets, but the money is on the Chiefs, which means it's sharp money more so moving this line to 3.5. I think Liam Cohen's lucky he didn't get to Robert Saleh or he'd be on the IR. That's true. That is not very smart.
By the way, I want to point something out because I said this before the season, and we talked about this last year with the Eagles with Fangio and the Niners getting Salah back. Even with
Yeah.
the Niners losing Nick Bosa,
Yeah.
Salah has been really good. And
Yeah.
that was something that I liked going in. When they got Salah back, I thought that was a big pickup for the season, especially with a lot of young players, a lot of rookies who are making plays. They have starting safety who's a rookie, Siegel. They have Renaro Green's a second-year player at corner. Michael Williams, of course, on the defensive line. They have guys making plays. And I think that's a lot of Salah coaching. So Salah's a big pickup. And that's the reason why that defense is creating some of these big plays to win games late in games. And 3 of their 4 wins are really because the defense has come through when it mattered. They're not winning games because they're running the ball. They're not winning games because of Shanahan. That's for damn sure. They're winning games because defense is making plays when it counts. And I'll give a lot of credit to Salah for that.
Yeah, and the Jets really miss him too. The Jets defense has been so much worse ever since they fired him. Do you think a lot of people took the Rams in Survivor?
No, I don't.
You don't think so? Okay.
No, because it's Thursday night, and I think a lot of people know better than to play Thursday night games, especially in Circa. And I also think that there's going to be a tremendous amount of people this week on Arizona. There's no other time this year to take Arizona. I think Arizona will be a very, very popular pick.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Detroit will be a popular pick given the spread. I think Buffalo will be a popular pick, and I think Indy's going to be a popular pick. So those 4, I think, will be the majority. When you look at Circa right now, there are 12,400 people remaining.
Wow.
And for the most part, so you're looking at I would say 50% of the pool is going to be on Detroit and Arizona.
Okay.
Last week, 56% of the pool was on Buffalo and Houston. I would think that the majority, maybe you get somewhere around 5%. So that's about 600 or so, maybe. I don't think it'd be that much. I think it'd be less.
Okay.
I think it'd be less than 500 people out of 12,400. So
okay.
I hope it's more. That'd be great. I just think that it's not like an anti-survivor. Oh, let's go against the Niners this week. It's still a divisional game. It's still Thursday night. And the Rams are a very, very good pick when they play the Saints in a couple of weeks. And that week 9 is a very, very hard week. There's not a lot of options in week 9. Week 9, you have Green Bay over Carolina. You have the Rams over New Orleans. And the only other game that I highlighted would be the Chargers over the Titans. That's a road game. So I think if people are smart and they're looking ahead at least a couple of games, I think the Rams are a much better pick in a couple of weeks.
Did you say Ravens at Dolphins? Is that one you said? But the Ravens play on Thanksgiving.
No, the Ravens are a pick that everyone's saving for Cincinnati.
So for week 9, I had 49ers at Giants, Packers versus Panthers, but they also play on Thanksgiving. Rams versus Saints. So yeah, Rams. That looks like the obvious play there. The Rams.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's true. So I guess anyone looking ahead would take the Rams, but people don't look ahead sometimes, and so as we had a comment here from Luke saying a lot of people in his pool took the Rams in Survivor. So maybe that is the case.
We have another comment that Fred Warner is playing out of his mind.
Yes,
Fred Warner is the best defensive player in the league.
He's so good. Yeah,
he's the best linebacker I've ever seen.
He was good last year, but he was playing hurt
last year with an injured foot, with a broken bone in his foot.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he wasn't at his best last year, but he was playing a broken foot, and it's crazy how well he played given the injury. And now he's playing out his mind. So he's fantastic.
He is unbelievable.
Yeah. Salah gets struck with a crappy owner, crappy GM, no quarterback. You'll get another head coaching shot. Do you think that'll be the case? Maybe down the road.
I do. I think you'll get another head coaching shot. But I think he's a better coordinator. Some guys are just better coordinators than they are head coaches.
Yeah.
He's a very good coordinator.
Wade Phillips, North Turner, Josh McDaniels. We've seen our fair share of those guys. All right, let's get our card in order here. So actually, I wrote down the wrong spot for this. Okay, so these are the definites, which I will post here. These are the definites I've written down. Tampa plus 3.5, Detroit minus 10, Chargers minus 2.5, Chiefs minus 3.5. Those are the games we both really like. And then so there are 4 definites there. We have to choose one of these next 6. So let me put this in here. Maybes. Here we go. Texans minus 2. Cardinals minus 7.5. Broncos plus 3.5, Jets plus 2.5, Colts minus 7, Patriots plus 8.5.
You didn't put in your Vikings pick.
You seem very anti.
I'm very anti-international, like you are. Where's your shirt? Make NFL great in America again.
Here it is. Make football American again.
Yeah, there you go.
But the problem with this is I need X's around South America now, and then Australia. Apparently, there's going to be.
Within the next 2-3 years, you're going to get a division in London.
Yeah, look, that's what Goodell wants. Pat Yacinskas, who used to work for ESPN, I had dinner with him one night. That's a long time ago, but he said. And this didn't happen, but this was back in 2013. He said that like Goodell's dream, and he's interviewed Goodell. Goodell's dream was to have a team in London in 2020. And I thought he wanted the Jaguars there. If that didn't work out, they got no stadium. So I do think that that's what Goodell wants. I don't know if it'll happen, but that's what he wants at least. So get off the Vikings. Look, the best home field advantage of all time. I have to take it. You need a big circle around Australia in your next shirt. Yeah. Although that'll make Ben Wassley upset. I don't want to upset Ben Wassley. He's a great guest on the show. So and I always wanted to visit Australia too. So if it's like a one-time thing, it's okay. If it's a habit, then I don't like it. Okay. So of these maybes, let me put this back on the screen. I mean, I know you like.
Well, you know my number, my pick would be the Patriots.
The Patriots, yeah. But I
if you don't like the Patriots, then we don't have to take it. And
I like
the team effort.
We can wait on for the Patriots. We can wait on the injury report. Like if we see Milano out and Ed Oliver out, then I would be willing to take the Patriots as our 5th pick. If those guys are back, then I wouldn't want it. So, otherwise,
I always generally lean towards dogs. So if it's not the Patriots, I lean more towards the Broncos rather than laying points with the Cardinals. Now the Jets getting points. I've said this before. Every time I play the Jets or the Giants, I find myself wondering why midway through the game. Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. What am I betting on the Jets for?
Yeah, we probably shouldn't. Have
I live in New York, and a lot of my closest friends are Jets or Giants fans. It's like, you know better. It's like, yeah, I know. The Jets do Jets things, and the Giants do Giants things to lose games. The Jets find very creative ways to lose. And I wonder why I bet them, whether it's last year we bet them on the win total over. It was just a mistake because it's these things happen and they constantly happen. The Jets are not a good football team. They're 0-4. We're betting them plus 2.5. Is there real value in plus 2.5? Not really.
No, it's not.
And you're on the Colts. I'm more on the Raiders with a little bit more of a skepticism. I hear your argument. I hear the point. I just don't love the Colts laying. I need another week where I see the Raiders getting blown out like they did last week. Oh, they didn't get blown out last week. They should have won last week. I need to see them get it beat by a good margin where they're not fighting, where they can't block, where they're turning the ball over again before I'm laying points against them. And the Colts, to me, are still a slightly above average team. They're playing great, but now you're asking this team to win by margin. Hard for me to ask a team like the Colts. I can ask the Lions or the Chiefs or the Ravens or the Bills to win by margin. I don't want to ask Daniel Jones to win by margin.
Well, with the Raiders, every team they played that has been at least average, they've gotten blown out this year.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, they lost by 7 to, they lost to New England. Oh, did they beat
Yeah.
them?
No, they beat New England, but like New
They
England's
beat
on
them.
average. I'm saying that like every team they played this year that's average or better, they've gotten blown out. They got blown out against the Redskins. They got blown out against the Chargers. Now, I know that's only 2 games, but the other 2 games that they won or could have won were against the Patriots or Group D and Bears or Group D. So we know that the Colts are not Group D. Like you just said that they're above average. So I think that like they're pretty close. I think to the Chargers. And we saw what the Chargers did to them. And I
Yeah, I
think
feel like if that line were like 4.5, I cave a little bit faster.
yeah. Yeah,
But I agree. There's no Raiders have no. I'm always starting with the offensive line. The Raiders have no line. They can't block. So, and the Colts are coming off a bad loss. I hear your situational spot.
Yeah, and I actually think this line's too low. I have it at -8. So I'm very down on the Raiders especially with Miller out. I just don't, and that the travel thing is huge. I think I don't.
I know. You went over the travel schedule, the back and forth. I hear
it's crazy. I don't think I don't remember a schedule like that where West
My
Coast,
only
East Coast,
saving
West
grace
Coast,
there
East Coast,
is
West
that
Coast, East Coast. What'd you say?
My only saving grace is it's early in the season.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they're also getting.
They're flying on private jets. They're not sitting on middle aisle, the middle seat in row 26.
I don't know. I
It's
mean,
not the flight cross country.
Mark Davis might be hurting for money. So they're sitting in the back row. Yeah. It's like some kids crying next to them. Like Gina's like, this is why I'm throwing interceptions. This kid's crying.
How would you rank Survivor this week, throwing out the Rams? Do you agree with my assessment of taking Arizona and Detroit, or you would put Indy ahead of one of those teams?
In my 2 entries, I have Arizona and Indy. And I'm surprised you're burning Detroit because they're playing Thanksgiving. I know.
The only reason is because I have the Ravens and Philly and Eagles available, and the Lions are playing Green Bay. So let's be fair.
Right. I
do like options.
Yeah, I'm just like, what if like the week before or a couple weeks before,
right.
Jordan Love gets hurt and suddenly that's looking like an easy game, you know?
Right. My answer is I have 4 entries and I can't take Cardinals 4 times anyway because I don't have them 4 times.
Right.
So on those entries, my options are to take the Lions, or I even looked at Buffalo, but then I said, yeah, I like New England, and because I like New England with the points, I looked at the Colts, but I like the Colts more in Week 8, and I still may take the Colts in one of the entries, but I'm so much more confident with Detroit. And sometimes you just don't want to get too cute with these survivor picks.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been getting away with some. I have some great entries. Like my entry number 2 has burned the Bengals, the Texans, and now I'm going to take the Cardinals. So I love that entry. My entry number 4, I've already burned the Cardinals, Cowboys, and Seahawks.
Oh, wow.
So I feel like I have an advantage going forward because a lot of people, I did take Buffalo on one of my entries for entry number 1, and I'm annoyed that I did. In entry number 3, I burned the Ravens in week 2. Mm-hmm. And I'm annoyed that I did because, again, I couldn't take Dallas 3 times. So I took Dallas once, I took Arizona, and then I had to get away with other teams. And so it's a very hard contest. And so I feel like I want to be safe some of my entries. And if I know that I have other options for Thanksgiving, and I don't really love the Lions outside of injury potential, so therefore I like the Lions here. I'm just much more comfortable with the Lions winning and moving forwards than I am with the Colts, who I don't really trust so much yet. And like I said, I kind of like the Raiders with the points. So we'll see.
Yeah. The Eagles haven't beaten anyone by margin. They should have lost to the Rams. This is definitely true. Like that should not impact our pick here. I think that's a mistake for that to happen.
Luke wrote Cowboy Survivor picks talk about getting cute. Yes, sometimes you want to take those risks when you have 5 entries. And I figured in that game, that was really the only time Dallas was going to be favored. And I figured let's try to sneak him through. And that's why on the other entries in that week, I had the Ravens once, I had the Rams once. And then I said, okay, let's try to get a little cute here. Let's get the Cowboys through. And that entry becomes a very solid entry. Last week, I had the Broncos. 2 weeks ago, I had Seattle. So since then, it's been cakewalk. And I want to look at that entry number 4 that's burned Dallas and entry number 2 that's burned Cincinnati as strong entries going forwards. like I said, I really just want to get one or two past Thanksgiving and see where I am. But you got to map it out, and sometimes you got to be a little conservative, and sometimes there's chances to be a little aggressive.
Yeah, so, that's for sure.
So maybe I do take Indy ones for that reason.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's the best case. Like I said, I have two entries, one on Arizona, one on Indy. So and then I mean I'm not risking as much as $10 entry on DraftKings. Actually 50,000 the first, not too bad.
18.7 million. That's the goal.
Yes, that's it's a little bit of a difference. But hey, I'll take 50,000 at this point. You know, like my monthly bills are like $6,000 a month I'm paying for stuff. So
well, our entries are now worth 1,500 an entry. So we're up 50% in entry.
That's pretty good. It's like you're buying a call and you're seeing that go up a little bit, and you're like, oh, I'm up 50% here. It's pretty nice.
33% of this 34%'s been knocked out.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Maybe a couple hundred people took the Rams tonight. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I hope so for your sake. Okay, with this, I think we can wipe out the Jets. For now, I say no in New England, but like I said, injury report, I think that could change. And you don't like Indy, so of the remaining three, we have Houston, Arizona, Denver. How would you rank them from 1 to 3?
Houston, Denver, Arizona, probably. Mm-hmm. Maybe okay. Denver, Houston, Arizona.
Denver, Houston, Arizona.
I just have a suspicion that Denver's going to beat us on some BS backdoor somehow. I can smell it, right? We've seen it before. And I really think it's Eagles up 3, burn the clock, get held, and kick a stinking field goal in by 6.
Yeah, front door field goal is the worst. That's even worse than a backdoor cover. It's like there's no reason for it to happen.
Right.
Because it's still like you said, so we're still a 1-score game. For me, I mean, obviously, I have Arizona 1. For me, it's Arizona 1, Houston 2, Denver 3. But I like.
I'm okay going Arizona. Listen, I like when you take that number 1 pick because I don't have a strong conviction for it. But you said, listen, you're going against a team that hasn't covered in a year.
Yes.
What can be bad? I'll lose Survivor. They'll lose outright. We'll wonder why we had money on Kyler Murray.
Yep, that's true. Kyler Murray against horrible teams has done well though, so maybe that'll happen again. Luke's contest picks: Seattle, Cleveland, Saints, Cardinals, and Texans. So we agree on the Cardinals and Texans. Saints is interesting against the Giants. Cleveland, we disagree in Cleveland there. I like Minnesota, and then Seattle, we disagree on Seattle, Tampa. So interesting that we are going against each other in 3 of those games. Okay. So we for now we have our card, but like I said, if those Bills injuries persist, then we can add in the Patriots to our card. So that's something to watch out for tomorrow. And then we're going to review everything tomorrow with Tom Friday night around 10:30 p.m. So join us for that, and we always have nonsense to talk about. And Tom could try to sell me on the Dolphins. I'm not going to do it, but he's going to try to sell me on that pick. All right, anything else before we head out?
No, Fred Warner's best defensive player in the league. Kyle Shanahan should be fired.
Fired? You would fire him right now?
Fired. I'm done with him. I'm really done with him. That's it. I'm done.
All right. Well, like that's just if you were John Lynch, you would actually fire him right now.
I'm so sick and tired of watching him lose or almost lose these games for the same mistakes over and over again.
Yeah.
Guy burned the Falcons in the Super Bowl. He burned the Niners twice in the Super Bowl. He's never going to win a Super Bowl. You're here to make the Super Bowl. You're here to win the Super Bowl. We're not here to make the playoffs. We're not here to beat bad teams and be overrated. And he just does not learn from his mistakes. I'm done with this guy. I'm absolutely done with it. I can't watch it anymore.
I can't argue it. I mean, he does make the same mistakes over and over again, and just doesn't seem to realize that they are mistakes. So, all right, guys, thanks so much for watching and commenting. Really appreciate it as always. Thanks to Jay Berman, especially for the $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Jay Berman. Really appreciate it. Glad you love the show. Like I said, we'll be back tomorrow night with Tom, our final live stream week 5 picks, and then next week we do it all over again. Picks shows from Tuesday through Friday. So please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video. Visit walterfootball.com for tons of content. I'll be posting prop picks tomorrow, as usually do on Friday afternoon. So look for that. And then Saturday notes on Saturday, final thoughts on Sunday. But yeah, if you guys don't listen to the Friday show, good luck with all your picks. Good luck in Survivor. Good luck with everything. And I will talk to you tomorrow night.